Welcome to the ACWD. I guess this is a third AMI presentation. Thank you for members of the public of taking time to join us this afternoon. Before we start with the roll call in the meeting, I believe General Manager Mr. Shaver has a couple of housekeeping issues.
Yes, thank you, President Huang. First off, can everybody hear me? Raise your hand or say thumbs up. Okay, great. Good evening. The Alameda County Water District Board of Directors welcomes the public's participation in this meeting. My name is Robert Shaver and I serve as the General Manager for the agency. Conducting virtual board meetings and workshops is still a relatively new experience for us, although we are getting better at it. But please bear with us in case we experience any technical challenges. Members of the public may participate in this public meeting either via the Zoom application or by telephone. If you're participating via Zoom, generally we ask that all panelists and participants mute their microphones unless speaking. You may also be placed on mute by the district secretary. The district secretary will unmute participants at the appropriate time when the board is receiving public comments. In Zoom, you will be able to view presentation materials as they are presented to the board. At any time, you may submit a question or raise your hand if you are muted and have any questions, or if you would like to address the board. For those of you that are participating using telephone audio, please refrain from making comments until prompted by the district secretary or board president. And unless you are speaking, we also ask that you put your phone on mute to assure the best sound quality for everyone. If you're using Zoom and the phone at the same time, please be aware that there can be echo and feedback loop issues. So you should mute one of those devices for sure. The presentation slides are located on the district's website at www.acwd.org. If you have access to the website, you may download the slides and follow along with the presentation materials that way as well. And on the phone, you may press *6 to get the attention of the host. This Zoom webinar will be recorded and will be made accessible to the public for future viewing. And again, thank you for attending this evening.
Well, Mr. Shaver, I was hoping you would talk a little bit longer because I think Director Sethy is not on yet.
Well, I see Director Sethy is back.
Oh, cool.
He's still listed as me, but he is back.
Okay.
I'm here now. So I did find the email in my spam folder to join, but it will Comcast will not allow me to join a spam email. So I've rejoined as Bob Shaver.
All right. So Director Sethy, I'm going to ask you to do me one favor before
Yes.
you comment today. Can you please identify yourself just so that members of the public in the future, when they review or watch this webinar, they would know it's you who's speaking instead of relying on the name?
Jonathan Wunderlich was trying to instruct me on how to promote myself to my own name.
Do you see the picture of your own video where you can see yourself?
Yes.
And there's it says mute or unmute, and then there's 3 dots to the right of it.
Yes.
Click on the 3 dots.
I got it.
And then it should give you an opportunity to rename yourself.
Okay, I just completed that, so I'm now renamed. Thank you, John.
Okay. Thank you. Then with that, let's move on to our regular board meeting since we finished the housekeeping issue. Mr. Warren, roll call, please.
Sure. Directors Akbari.
Present.
Gunther.
Here.
Sethy.
Here.
Weed. Here. And Huang.
Here. Next salute to the flag. Director Akbari, would you lead us in a salute, please?
Sure. I may defer Director Huang. I've got allergies, so my apologies.
No, then that's say I'll volunteer Director Gunther then. Would you do the honor, Director Gunther?
Yeah, I'm here. Okay, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, next item is public comment on matters on this notice of special board meeting. Do I have any members of the public that wish to speak to the board during this time? If you do, please raise your hand in the Zoom app, or if you are on the phone, please just speak up. All right, I am not seeing any hands. Mr. Warren, can you confirm that I am seeing it correctly?
Sure. Yes, let me Q&A. No questions at this time.
Okay, thank you so very much. Then let's move on to the action calendar. Item 4.1, General Manager, would you do the honor, or are you nominating a division head to do this?
Well, I'll read the item and then I will transfer this to Mr. Stevenson, our Manager of Engineering and Technology Services. So item 4.1 is authorization of contract for software as a service for a water-focused customer portal for the advanced metering infrastructure project. There's a typo. And discussion of implementation of the advanced metering infrastructure project. So with that, I now transfer this to Mr. Stevenson.
Thank you, Mr. Shaver, and good evening, directors and public. If there's a typo, it is my fault, so my apologies. So this is a follow-up discussion to provide some additional detail into the district's evaluation of proposals for the AMI customer portal. And staff recognizes that during our May 21 special board meeting, we reserved little time for this topic and therefore provided only summary information in support of staff's recommendation. So this evening, we plan to provide additional detail about our process, the evaluation criteria, and the scoring of the proposals and the demonstrations and interviews by our evaluation team. Also at the May 21 workshop, members of the board expressed interest in seeing a guided demonstration of the SEW customer portal with the chat feature that was discussed at that time. And at the May 28 workshop, more than 2 directors indicated interest in participating in that demonstration. And so SEW will be providing that as well this evening. Also, I just wanted to note for the record that the board has received 2 letters from a WaterSmart sales manager, one dated May 20, 2020, and the other dated June 6, 2020, today, which followed staff's specific notice to WaterSmart about this meeting. The board also received a comment letter from SEW's sales manager dated June 4, 2020. Staff does not intend to get into a point-counterpoint with any of the proposers. Rather, staff and our consultant EMA will be ready to address questions from the board as to the district's evaluation of the customer portals for the AMI project. So with that, I'll turn it over to Ben Egger, who you're very familiar with. Ben Egger, the manager of the AMI project. And so Ben, would you get us started, please?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Stevenson. Andy, I think we need to do a quick swap of the screen so I can present.
Sure. So
if you stop sharing, I should be able to.
I think you can just choose, Ben, to
okay.
start sharing. I made it where any panelist can share. So
I gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay. Here we go. All right, cool. Okay, I take it everyone can see the first slide there. Okay, so again, thank you, Mr. Stevenson. Good evening, members of the board, members of the public, and staff. My name is Ben Egger. I am the district's project manager for the AMI project, Advanced Metering Infrastructure Project. I certainly appreciate the opportunity to provide additional information and context related to staff's evaluation, leading to ultimately to our recommendation, as you know, to award the water-focused customer portal project to SEW. On May 21st, we presented a summary of our findings. However, hopefully you'll hear tonight additional details there, and you'll hear that staff conducted a fair public contract bidding process that was fairly rigorous, or very rigorous, I should say, resulting in a selection of a best-in-class customer portal solution. The district's procurement was developed to identify a best-in-class water-focused customer self-service customer portal that aligns with the district's priorities. And so with that, I appreciate that you'll hear a lot about our process and our evaluation and the outcome. You'll also hear a demonstration of the SEW. And so I just wanted to remind us all that neither the evaluation team nor SEW or WaterSmart are really on trial here. What we're doing is presenting all the details that led us to ultimately to our recommendation. And I think you'll find that our findings reflected in that evaluation. And so with that, I'll get going with some of the introduction. So a quick agenda or overview. I'll do just a very brief introduction and background. I think we heard a lot of the background information on the 21st, so I won't spend too much time there. But then we'll have a guided tour or demonstration by SEW of their customer portal solution, as well as a short presentation to get started on that demonstration. And then we'll do a detailed dive into our evaluation process, really review the process that we set up prior to advertising the RFP, and then walk you through the results and the findings of the evaluation team's consensus scoring. We'll also just do a quick look at what alternatives there are to for our next steps, and then I'll provide the STAS recommendation. Okay, so the purpose is to provide the results of procurement, as I've said a couple of times already. But what's included is a demonstration and Q&A session with SEW. So I know that the board is interested in hearing more from SEW direct about their solution. So that'll be a nice opportunity for us all there. You'll definitely get the details about our process, our evaluation process, and additional information that we omitted from our last presentation, which was fairly rapid. I do apologize about that. What's not included tonight is a business case, a representation of the business case analysis or the ultrasonic test or pilot. I know those are topics the board is interested in. We have set aside time at the Thursday board meeting, June 11th board meeting, to touch on those topics. So we're looking forward to coming back and talking more about those. We'll hold off those topics for tonight. Okay, you know Mark and Joel well. They'll be co-presenting with me again tonight, surprise. And I did just want to briefly touch on our timeline. I think there was a little confusion regarding our procurement process and the timing. At the May 21st presentation, our last presentation. We did intend from the start and design the process, our AMI project, to have parallel procurement processes for both the AMI procurement and the customer portal. This was really an opportunity for us to buy some time back in our project. There was definitely some synergies in having both procurements running at the same time, and efficiencies there in doing that. I guess an example of that would be after the award of both the AMI project and the customer portal. There's a massive amount of integration that has to happen between the AMI vendor and the customer portal vendor, but also with our existing systems, with Kayenta and our platforms that we already have. And so there's a lot of value in doing all the testing of that integration up front, and then also having basically the fully fledged AMI solution available for POC testing for the proof of concept. We wanted to do a full evaluation and make sure that everything worked the way we intended, rather than just focusing on one element at a time. The added value there is that whether you have your AMI meter installed in the POC or at what month in the following 30 months your AMI meter will be deployed as a customer, you'll have access to that customer portal. It'll be a nice way for the AMI project to communicate with customers. They'll get a lot of the other self-help and self-service benefits, as well as access to their billing and their payment services all in this one platform. It really consolidates the customer's touch point. And so as the AMI system is deployed and as that feature comes online for them, then there's really there's nothing required of the customer to start using the AMI system and get the benefits, but there's a lot of value in us being able to do outreach through that platform prior to people receiving their AMI meter. So it certainly made a lot of sense to staff, and that was our plan along the way, and I think that's what we shared with the board along the way, that it was always the intent to do a parallel procurement. Okay, so with that, I'll move over to the SEW demonstration. We have Brad Adamski on the line from SEW to do a demonstration of his platform and a quick introduction. While he's firing up his presentation and the demo environment on his side, I'll just give you a quick overview of what he's going to present, what you'll hear from them. They'll do a quick introduction of who they are and a small presentation, and then they'll be doing a demonstration that'll be really targeted on what we heard from the board last time at May 21st. Really interested in the customer's experience. What is it going to be like for our customers? The customer service tools, what are all the benefits to the district? How are our customer service reps going to be able to better serve our customers? So he'll provide an overview of those tools, as well as the analytics. Of course, this is an AMI project. We want to make sure that there's analytics to make benefit of those AMI data. And then there'll be a chance for a Q&A. But with that, I will turn it over to Brad. And Andy, I'm not sure if Brad is promoted to, I'm seeing the nod, yes, he's promoted to presenter. So Brad, can you?
Yeah, I can hear you, Ben.
Okay, great.
In terms of logistics, so Harish Raju is going to be doing the demo. So I've given him my deck as well so that he can both share the deck and then show the demo without us having to switch back and forth. So if we can promote Harish to show the deck.
Yeah. So I see that you're now presenting, so I'll turn it over to you. You may want to introduce yourself again and Harish.
Great. And Harish, all right, perfect. Thank you, Ben, for that introduction and the overview of the agenda. Very much appreciate that. And thank you to ACWD staff for their work on this, and to the ACWD board for giving us an opportunity to provide this information today. We're excited to do it and to provide a demonstration. So what we're going to do first, next slide, Harish, is we'll go into the agenda and we'll provide a company overview. We'll keep it brief, just a few slides there. Then we'll address the protest letter items directly. It's just probably appropriate to do that, but we'll keep it brief and to the point. And then we'll wrap up the slides and turn it over to Harish, who will actually do the demonstration of the customer-facing portal mobile solution. And then he'll transition to the utility side, the utility-facing customer service and admin portal, and then the analytics. And then at the end, he's going to discuss what we're partnering with the district on as it relates to our customer-facing meter status portal, where the customers will be able to go and get status on where they stand in terms of the schedule to get their meter installed. All right, next slide, Harish. Okay, so our team, going left to right, Harman Sandhu oversees product strategy. So he'll be participating as well, but probably will be listening most. But he's been very involved behind the scenes. Harish Raju represents solutions engineering. So Harish and I have been out several times through the process, many times actually, to work with the team. Harish crafted the statement of work, and he'll be doing the demonstration today. And myself, Brad Adamski, I'm the Vice President of Sales for what we call the Western region. So I have responsibility for the Western portion of North America, up into Canada, British Columbia and Alberta, and then all the way west out to Hawaii. And I've been with the company, it'll be 5 years on June 15th. So that's coming up very rapidly here, and it's been quite an experience to be part of this company and its growth. All right, next slide, Harish, please. Company overview. So just to give you a little bit of background on Smart Energy Water. No, we're not an energy water drink. We're actually a company that builds software. We are a software products company. We build software for the utility industry only. And we do that for water utilities, electric utilities, and gas utilities. We're doing business in 18 countries. You can see the map with the dots below. We have over 300 clients. We have 400 million people that interact with our cloud-based software as a service platform. Those are customers of utilities and utility employees as well. Over 20.5 billion transactions on our cloud platform on an annual basis. And you may ask, what's a transaction? A transaction is a customer logging into the portal on their phone or on their computer and checking their usage, setting their leak alerts, paying their bill, getting a text notification that their bill's due. It would be a utility employee logging into the utility facing a portal and interacting with analytics, sending out notifications, and so forth. We have many awards and 600 plus employees spread throughout the world. All right, next slide, Harish. We do not only provide customer engagement capabilities and software to our utility customers, but we have a complete platform. So customer engagement is what we're talking about today with ACWD for the majority of the demonstration. But we also have two other solutions. So our customer engagement solution first, though, is called Smart Customer Mobile. And it has a number of features and components. I won't go into all these bullets now, as Harish is going to hit on many of these in the demonstration. But we also have a solution for field workers. And these can be utility employees, installing the meters, tracking that progress, assigning work orders, accepting work orders, putting in their timesheets, scheduling, routing, training, etc. For example, up in your area, PG&E uses our Smart Mobile Workforce solution for their field employees for all their training and documentation material. They have approximately 4,000 employees in the field that use our Smart Mobile Workforce solution, and it has grown steadily at PG&E over the last 5 years. And then lastly, our Smart IQ product, which rounds out the three cloud-based solutions, is our analytics solution powered by machine learning and artificial intelligence. And that's the software that takes the data coming off the meters and applies intelligence to that data. And Harish will be going through that as part of the demonstration today.
The current if I could ask this, Director Weed, the current contract we're looking at includes which of these products?
It includes the first product, Smart Customer Mobile, and the third product, Smart IQ.
Thank you.
You bet.
This is Director Akbari. I have a question as well. I see a bullet point for AI-powered customer service. Can you kind of talk about what that entails? Is that predictive in any way, or is that integrated with the chatbot? I'd just love to learn more.
Sure. Do you want to take that, Harish, or do you want me to?
Yeah, I can talk through that. Hello, everyone, again. Absolutely. It would be essentially both scenarios that can potentially benefit from, basically the AI capabilities, right? So time permitting, I hope that I can actually show you a quick demo of our chatbot as well. And then, of course, when we go into Smart IQ and leak alerts, etc., all of that, that's where those predictive analytics also come into picture.
All right, next slide, Harish. All right, so our solutions, all three of them, Smart Customer Mobile, Smart Mobile Workforce, and Smart IQ, are modular in nature, such that the utilities, when they purchase these solutions, only purchase the modules that they need. And in fact, in the case of ACWD, the modules that you see highlighted in green going from left to right, My Account, Billing, and Usage, those first three are part of the solution that was selected. Not the outage notification, also sometimes called service disruption feature, that has not been included as it was not in scope. Notifications module is in scope. The service module is, Connect Me, Compare Me, and Efficiency are all in scope for this project. And so the nice thing about it is you're not paying for the modules that you don't need, but in the future, if you want to add those modules, you can. All right, next slide, Harish. All right, this next section is to address the protest letter that was submitted. In my 5 years that I've been with SEW, I've experienced this type of situation with WaterSmart, both formally and informally. This happened at the City of Redwood City multiple years ago. In their case, it was City Council. They actually came and spoke at the meeting. I was there. And the city had done their homework, was confident in their recommendation, and stated the facts of their RFP process, and the City Council unanimously proceeded. And so we've had a very successful implementation there. We're 3 years running. We're doing an upgrade with them right now as they're implementing a new billing system, and they want to take advantage of real-time integration. So we're excited about that. Secondly, this happened at Milton Water District, more similar to ACWD in that it's a board. And they contacted one of the board members. I was also at that board meeting, and they did agree to go forward. It was not unanimous, but it was majority. And that has been a very successful implementation as well. We completed an upgrade to our 7.5 version several months ago. And they recently, in May, last month, won an award for their implementation of our analytics. And they won that award from CS Week, Customer Service Week. Very prestigious, and we're very excited for them on that. And I've included a link to that award video. CS Week did not happen in person this year because of COVID-19, but they did a online video award. So good stuff from Molten Miguel. And then Corix Group of Companies, this was an informal protest. They contacted their chief customer officer when they found out they were moving, that Corix was moving forward with us, and said that, we weren't a quality company, and that wouldn't be best to do business with us. As a result, they're based out of Chicago. We invited them to come visit our headquarters. We took them down to visit in person the city of San Diego, which is a water customer. And then we took them up to Los Angeles Department of Water and Power that uses us on the power side for their smart energy portal. And that resulted in a signed contract. They've been doing business with us for 3 years also, and have done major enhancements. It's very tightly integrated with Oracle as their back-end CIS, and we've done a lot of automation for them. And they're a water utility that's located in 17 states in the United States. So they're an investor-owned water utility. And so it's multi-tenant. When you log into the portal, it knows, it does an automatic lookup in Oracle, and then based on your account information, it shows you the relevant information to your state and your utility. And this is where we've integrated with Badger AMI. And we've done this in the state of Georgia. It's in production. It's in production in both Jasper and Savannah, Georgia. All right, next slide, please.
Brad, just on this slide,
Sure.
should we assume that the fourth experience that you had with WaterSmart, they ended up convincing through protest the agency to go with them?
No, that's a good question, Director Akbari, and that's to be determined because you're the fourth time. So,
oh, my apologies. I misread that. I thought, my apologies.
No problem. It wasn't 100% clear, so no problem there. Yeah, so this is the fourth time.
Understood.
You bet. All right, next slide. Okay, so this was I think the first bullet in the protest that we can find no evidence of any experience with Badger AMI in any state. This is factually incorrect. As I stated earlier, we are in the state of Georgia as an example with Badger AMI integration. We were not aware that Badger was the meter company selected when we submitted our proposal. So we did not speak to that in the proposal, but we're confident in our ability to do this because we've done it before. And we provided some screenshots of this. If you can go to the next slide, Harish, you'll see an example. So this is the portal landing page. This is pretty cool for Corix, for their 17 utilities in the United States. So it's one landing page. And they call the portal and the mobile app My Utility Connect. And so you can log in here, and again, it authenticates you against your account information in Oracle, and then directs you to the correct version of the 17 for your state. And they're also using what we call our toaster feature, which is part of the customer service and admin portal feature where the utility can go in and create what we call toaster pop-up messages that show up on the landing page and also within the portal to promote certain messaging. So I took this screenshot today from their portal. So this is current as of today, and they're using that toaster feature for COVID-19 messaging. And then if you're in the mobile app, it pops up when you log in. So pretty good stuff. All right, next slide. This is once you're actually logged into a portal and you're in the Savannah, Georgia or Jasper, Georgia area. And this is a AMI Badger integrated customer. So you can see on the icons on the right-hand side about midway down that says hourly, daily, and billing period. So the hourly is what you're viewing here. When you mouse over the bars, it gives you the actual information for that hour. The customer can also export this data to Excel and to their heart's content, create their own graphs and pie charts. They can also view this in HCF, gallons. There's also an option to view this in dollars if the utility wishes to provide that. They can turn on weather overlays. Since it's AMI data, we can do projections in terms of, this month versus end of month. And they can see, again, daily and billing period information. So for the hourly information, we're actually, again, integrated with Badger AMI for that data, and we're pulling that into the screen. For the daily and the billing period information, daily, again, would come from Badger. The billing period would come from the billing system. In this case, Oracle. In ACWD's case, that would be from Kayenta. All right, next screen. All right, the next three items here are for utilities in your area. And so I'm going to go through these three, and then I'm going to turn it over to Ben as I believe Katrina from the staff there at ACWD conducted some calls to these different cities, and she's going to provide the feedback on that. But first, let me take these three. So the city of Palo Alto recently replaced SEW with WaterSmart as their water portal. SEW had multiple failed deliverables and escalating costs not disclosed when they were selected through the RFP. This is factually incorrect. The city of Palo Alto is our current customer, and the SEW product has been deployed there successfully with actually very strong positive customer feedback. And again, Katrina can speak to that when we get through the next two. All right, next screen. So this, I went this afternoon to their portal and took a screenshot for their production portal. This is where their customers go to log in. You can see they're promoting some different messaging, water savings programs, COVID-19. These COVID-19, again, these banners towards the bottom in the center can be configured, uploaded by the utility on the fly and posted to the site. Nobody has to call us to enable these or pay us to do it. We put that power in the hands of the utility. Next slide. This is what we call a pre-login feature. So if you do select the efficiency or conservation pre-login option, you can see some of the savings tips that they're using to promote water savings, both outdoor, indoor. They're also an electricity power provider, so they also have energy savings as well. Next slide. Our understanding is that neither Milpitas nor Pleasanton is pleased with SEW's performance. Again, this is factually incorrect. Milpitas and Pleasanton are both current active customers of SEW and happy with SEW. We continue to work with both these customers to build upon the successful deployments and to add more capabilities in the future, again, via the modular nature of the software. Next slide, please.
Hey,
So,
Brad, can I just, this is Ben Ega.
Sure.
This might be a good chance before you move on to the next one, just for Katrina, just to, oh, did you want to go through these two portals?
Yeah, I just had two more, and then I had a slide to transition to you and Katrina.
Okay, all right, sure.
Yeah, no problem. So this is the login screen for the Milpitas portal. Again, you can see they can do some things pre-login, such as check conservation, contact us, report water waste, check FAQs, and next slide, Harish. And this is the Pleasanton production site. Looks very similar, although they have some more pre-login options turned on. Again, those are all configurable. All those options that you see are also available in the mobile app. You can see that we support multiple languages. There's English up in top, but we've done French, Spanish, we've done Polish, we've done 2 dialects of Mandarin. So it's a very configurable solution in terms of the languages it supports, both in the mobile and the portal interface. Next slide. All right, there you go, Ben, if you want to speak to this now.
Yeah, we just thought it would be worth also sharing what the district found when we reached out to these 3 cities, and actually our customer service and systems manager, Katrina Bates, reached out to her counterparts over there just to hear about their experience with SEW, so you could hear different perspectives. So Katrina, are you on the line?
Ben, hold on, Ben. I have been remiss. I did not realize we do have a question or comment from our attendee. So
Sure.
if you would give me a few minutes, we will allow our directors and customers to ask questions for what has been presented so far. And I will give our directors the first shot. Directors, do I have any directors that have question or comment to staff on what's been presented so far?
I have a quick question. Obviously, WaterSmart seems to challenge SEW at a few points when you guys are selected over them. Has the reverse been true? Have you guys challenged a decision to go with WaterSmart, and were you successful in that challenge?
Yeah, we have not, to my knowledge, since I've been with the company, protested an award to WaterSmart. That is not our method of doing business. Our focus is to focus on the solutions that we build, respond to the requirements of the utility, and focus on the positive way to address those requirements vis-a-vis our solution.
Okay, and second question, totally different tangent. What's the process for adding modules down the line? Like if we decided we wanted to add the leak detection module, is that something that would be cumbersome in any way for the district or for our customers?
No, that's a good question, Director Akbari. So typically the way that we work that process is as we're working with the utility on an ongoing basis, we have a support ticketing system. We'll do cadence calls once a month to review any open tickets, make sure they're being addressed. And typically in those conversations, or just through normal client success account management, we're working with the utility on what's their roadmap and what features they're looking at down the road. So through any of these interactions, we will learn or plan for additional modules. And then once that becomes more solidified, typically what we'll put together is a change request document. It's typically 2, 3, 4 pages, depending on the requirements to add that module and any work that's related to that module. And that'll all be described in detail in that change request with a proposed price. And then we send that to the utility and we review that with them. And then once there's agreement on that, we execute that change request. And then we do the work to implement that module and turn it on. Since it's cloud-based, it's a back-end configuration setting on our side to enable it. And then it'll show up in the admin settings for the utility to do any other further configuration if required.
Okay, great, thank you.
You bet.
Thank you, Director.
Question, if I might.
Yes.
Yes, I asked the staff or the consultant during the course to clarify and describe the sequencing of the implementation of the SEW proposal with the hardware that we're talking about putting in and the meters. Initially, it was my understanding we were going to put in the hardware and then implement the, only then implement the interface with the customer. If that's changed, I'd certainly be interested in learning what the current thought is. And apparently it goes beyond, the customer interface goes well beyond just reading the water consumption on your cell phone. So thank you.
So Ben, are you going to address this, or would this be more appropriate to be discussed this Thursday?
Yeah, I think I touched on it just in the opening, but as far as sequencing of the customer portal with of the 2 contracts, really, the AMI Badger contract and this SEW customer portal contract, the plan was to run parallel processes, procurement processes. That's what we've done. The thought there is that we want to do all the integration at the same time up front. All customers will benefit from this customer portal at the same time at the go live date. It'll be available for the POC when we do the POC installation of the meters, the proof of concept installation of the meters, which again is about 3,000 meters. So that we can do a full evaluation of that. Not just of Badger's ability to hit our benchmarks, but also for the customer portal to hit our business drivers and benchmarks, so that we can report that back. We certainly have heard of cities that have done it, the AMI first and then the customer portal second. I don't believe that's been received well by customers when they see all the AMI activity, but don't get any of the benefit of the AMI system. This AMI customer portal, or the customer portal itself, which is really a full interactive tool for customers for for all things to do with their account is a great way for us to communicate back and forth with customers who have received their AMI meter or are have an AMI deployment scheduled coming up. So I think there's a lot of benefit, as well as some efficiency in actually scheduling, the integration partners to do all the integration at the same time.
Okay, my thought is that this is a change from what was originally presented, and I think it's a positive change. But it strikes me that it would appear that this could be an independent contract from the AMI and putting in a portal for all the customers, whether you had AMI or not, correct?
It is certainly an independent contract. It's not under Badger. This is not a subcontract to Badger, but I think a lot of the power comes from having the AMI data available, but it is a full customer self-service tool. So there's more than just AMI that's going to be provided through this customer portal. I'm not sure. I hope I answered the question.
I think the key point is it could be independent. We could install this and without any AMI and have some benefits to our customers. And whether we did continue to manually read the meters or not, this could be and potentially is a completely independent of AMI.
Well, I wouldn't say that it's independent from AMI, just from the perspective that a lot of the drivers for the AMI project itself were customer focused. This is something we're doing for our customers to give them a lot of benefit from new services, extra services, and from the district. But I see what you're saying. I understand what you're saying, that you could do this first and then turn on AMI.
Exactly. That'll be, when we come to the business case, I'll be able to make that argument that it's premature to go with the AMI. Thank you.
Thank you, Ben. Thank you, Director Lee. Director Sethy or Director Gunther, do you have any comments or questions for staff?
Director Sethy, I do have one question. Ben, you just brought up AMI business requirements, and in the data that the scoring that was provided between the two vendors, SEW was given a 0 score and WaterSmart a top score. How do you explain that?
Right.
For the business drivers.
Right. Yeah, and I think that's an excellent point, and we'll definitely get to that one. But I think it really will, when we cover that in a little more detail later. I think that really speaks to the integrity of our evaluation process. We evaluated what was submitted, and this was an area where, to be honest, the SEW proposal just didn't adequately address the business drivers, and so it was reflected in the scores. In learning more about SEW, we learned that they can meet all our business drivers that we're hoping to accomplish through the AMI customer portal, or through the customer portal. So they're able to achieve that, but the reflected in a score was as submitted, what was put in front of the evaluation team. We had to evaluate what was there, not wasn't. Yeah.
Okay.
So on the basis of the original proposal, they did not meet the AMI case for what we recognized as the key business drivers. Is that, just to make it clear?
Well, the written response in the proposal did not address the question, but we know that adequately. But we know from learning more about SEW that they are able to, I'm sure if they resubmitted their proposal, they would be able to score a 20 here. But they, I can't guess at that. And I think we're probably best to tackle.
Ben, I will touch on this in my presentation during the discussion of how the evaluation was done.
Yeah, you know, you could say that for both vendors. If you put it back out, you'd come up with different responses and different scoring, but I'll just leave it at that. Thank you.
Thank you. I was going to say, we'll table that discussion until later in this presentation. So Director Gunther, any comments, questions?
No, I'm good.
Okay, then let's move on to members of our public, and my apologies, Ms. Nicole. I actually should have done a better job looking for little hands being raised. So the floor is yours.
My apologies. The hand raised was pressed in error.
Oh, okay, no problem. That actually is a good
No,
reminder.
no question required. Thank you.
Okay, no, it's actually a good reminder for me to remember to take a break to allow people to ask questions. So with that, I think let's move on, Ben.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. So I'll turn it over to Katrina just to provide what she found there. So, yeah, Katrina, are you still online?
Yep, I'm here. Can everybody hear me okay?
Yep.
Okay, thanks, Ben. Good afternoon, members of the board, members of the public and staff. So I conducted a quick reference off of these three cities that you have here posted, including City of Redwood City. So the plan for the district is to use SEW as a full service customer portal, not just as an analytics usage tool. This will include customers being able to view their bills, account history, making payments, requesting service, signing up for autopay and e-billing. So I spoke with the relevant staff members who have detailed knowledge of their systems and implementation. I'll go with City of Palo Alto first. They are the one that is fully deployed to their customer base. They are using SEW as a traditional customer portal, just like what the district is planning. They spoke very highly of SEW and their ability to meet their unique needs and demands, considering that their customer portal supports 7 different services. They also mentioned that the customers have spoken very highly about the customer portal and feel it is easy to use and it's nicer on the eyes. Next is I spoke with City of Pleasanton. They are also using SEW as a traditional customer portal. However, they are still refining the features, but launched it to some customers due to COVID-19. About 8,000 of their 22,000 customers have transitioned to SEW, and customers have really liked it and spoken highly about the new customer portal because it provided great level of detail for them. Milpitas and Redwood City do not have regular customer portals, just like how the district would use it. They use SEW as a usage and consumption analytics tool. They have billing information and payments in a separate system, but they did speak highly of SEW's project team and their willingness to address their issues and needs. So overall, it was a positive conversation with these cities.
Might I ask a question? Of the cities that you spoke with, which have AMI or AMR and which do not? When you say
they do not have full AMI. Palo Alto does not have any AMI. Milpitas, Pleasanton, and Redwood City are all partial. It's not fully deployed at the moment.
But they have full deployment of SEW.
Palo Alto does, Milpitas it does, and so does Redwood City. Pleasanton is partial deployment.
Thank you.
Yeah, and I believe in Pleasanton, it's just that Castlewood area that they don't have AMI. I think they have the bulk of Pleasanton covered. But thanks, Katrina.
You're welcome.
Brad, I think it's back over to you.
All right. Can you hear me all right, everybody? Yeah, okay.
Yep.
Thank you, Ben, for that. Thank you, Katrina, for taking the time to call those customers and do that research. The next bullet item was cost of ownership, SEW being 20% higher. You know, we really don't have knowledge of the pricing from the competitors, as we don't believe that's been made public in terms of what the details of the pricing are. But we do believe via the solution, the modular capabilities, and all that we're providing in addition to the native mobile apps for iOS and Android, plus the analytics solution that we're providing a broader, higher value platform that is worth the price that we've proposed. And it takes advantage of the integration with your backend systems as we've discussed. In addition, just the last bullet there, when customers deploy the solution, the whole idea of customer engagement, especially in today's world, is giving the customers the ability to pay their bill, see their bill, get their usage, ask their questions, and to be able to do that via a portal or mobile apps. Is every customer going to download a mobile app? No. Is every single customer going to go to the portal? Probably not. But is that the direction the world's moving? Absolutely. And then giving the utility employees as well the tools on the back end so that they can interact with the customers and they can do it via their computer or tablet. They can look up any single customer and get a 360-degree view of their profile, see what bills they've paid, see their usage, see what notifications they've set. They can actually log into the portal as if they were the customer doing what we call impersonation so that they can help the customer with questions. All these capabilities are driving utilities to implement solutions such as ours in the back-end utility-facing side of their operations. And it's unfortunate what we're going through right now because of this COVID-19, but we are busier than we've ever been because of it, because the ability to provide these solutions online to the customers and the employees. All right, next slide, please. Successful delivery of water AMI analytics. In their letter, WaterSmart said, this is quote, while they may have sold it, underline, this is their underline, there's no evidence that they have successfully underline delivered water AMI customer analytics, irrigation detection, or closed loop leak detection and alerting services at any water agency. This is factually incorrect. Again, SEW has successfully delivered award-winning AMI water customer analytics, irrigation leak detection, and alerting services. If you see the link below, that goes to a YouTube video which was published by Customer Service Week, I believe in early May, to Molten Miguel Water District for their implementation of the SEW analytics solution. And as Katrina was saying earlier as well, Redwood City has implemented the analytics solution also. Next slide, please. So what you have here is just a couple of quick screen grabs and links. The one on the left is the screen grab from YouTube for the Customer Service Week 2020 Award for Best Analytics Project. Level 2 winner, level 2 being their size. Molten Miguel is about 55,000 water meters. We're integrated with their backend JD Edwards system and their census meter, AMI meter system. And for payments, they do not use Invoice Cloud, but they use Paymentus, and we're integrated with that on the back end. And then you see Redwood City on the right there. That's a video as well of Ramana. I'm not even going to try and pronounce his last name. Great guy, but I have a hard time with his last name. Chinanotola, I tried. Okay. And so he's talking about the solution and you know, why they chose it and so forth. So two good videos to watch. All right, next slide. I'm getting closer to the end here, everybody. Thank you for your patience. Invoice Cloud integration. WaterSmart said we are not aware of any live successful integrations between ACWD's payment provider, Invoice Cloud, and Smart Energy Water anywhere. Again, this is factually incorrect. SEW's platform is integrated with Invoice Cloud, and we have a strategic partnership agreement in place with Invoice Cloud, actually. to provide end-to-end integrated customer engagement platform for not only water, but power and gas utilities. If we go to the next slide, Harish, you're going to see a screenshot of this integration in a production environment. This is UGI Utilities in Pennsylvania. And this is a gas utility, not water, but it is integrated with Invoice Cloud. I actually transacted this piece of business with their CIO, Thomas Lord. Great fellow. He's been there for probably close to 4 years now, did a whole CIS transformation from a 37-year-old legacy CIS to SAP, and in parallel implemented our solution. We integrated it with Invoice Cloud for ACH payments and bank account related payments. And then on the credit card side, they actually use Kubra to do their credit card processing, and they had a long-standing contract with Kubra. And so we leveraged Kubra's API to do the credit card piece. But the benefit here is all of that's in one interface, in our interface. Customers don't get pushed out to Kubra. Customers don't get pushed out to Invoice Cloud. The last thing you want to do to your customer is make them go to a third-party portal to do a payment. If they have to go to too many places to do different things, different use cases, you know, check their usage on one portal, sign up for rebates on a second portal, pay their bill on a third portal, guess what? They just won't use it, right? And so this has been our focus since day one, is put all this functionality in one place and then do the backend integrations to make the utilities backend systems work if they already have payment provider solutions that they're on contract, or meter data management systems, or outage management systems, or CIS systems, et cetera. Next screen, Harish. So this is just a second slide that just shows the journey of the payment process. So you can see it's a three-step, really two-step journey. Step one, select your payment. Step two, verify the payment. And then three is just thank you, you're done, confirmation. So, and again, you can see in the interface, you can choose bank account or credit card, debit card. If you choose credit debit, again, it's all in our interface, but it's leveraging Kubra's backend API. If you choose bank account, that's ACH, that's using Invoice Cloud's backend API. Next slide, please. All right, App Store reviews. Their App Store reviews speak for themselves. We believe they do speak for themselves. And to our knowledge, SEW is the only water customer portal vendor to offer native Apple, iOS, and Android mobile apps along with the web portal. Why do we do this? Same reason all the major banks provide native mobile apps. All the airlines provide major native mobile apps. All the hotels, right? Uber, Lyft, etc. Customers don't want to have to put their username and password in. They want to leverage Face ID. This is why they buy the new iPhone. Face ID is cool. Don't want to have to go to my password program to look things up. I want real-time push notifications, right? You need the native mobile app to get those. The push notifications do not cost the utility money. Sending an SMS notification does. Using GPS location detection, right? So that if you want to report a broken pipe or a broken main or something related to water leakage, you can take a picture of it and then GPS locate you. There's all kinds of security features related to native mobile apps. The ability to upgrade them using the auto update feature and so forth has many advantages. And so we have many 5-star apps in the App Store. We'll show some of those. We have some that are lower. You know, it happens. But we do our best to work with our customers to provide them with the best mobile apps so that they get the best scores. So what you see here, admittedly, we've cherry-picked the highest ones, but you know, we want to show you that we do have some great water utility customers. We believe all of our customers are great customers, but these ones are getting some great scores. Molten Miguel Water District not only won the award for their analytics, but their customers are rating their app 4 stars and Lake City Water is a 5-star water utility. And the one in the center here is not a water utility, but I felt it was relevant because it's in your backyard, right? It's Alameda Municipal Power. We provide the customer engagement and native mobile apps for them. And then you've got Water Works Newport News on the East Coast, and then the city of Boulder, Colorado. And most all of these, if not all of them, are typically very competitive situations. And these are customers that we've earned their business, and honestly, we're doing some great work for them, and I appreciate their business. All right, next slide. These next ones are not water utilities, but again, customer engagement for a utility is customer engagement, right? There's a lot of similarities. There's usage screens, there's efficiency programs, there's view your bill, there's pay your bill, there's submit questions, there's compare me, there's account information, there's store your credit card, there's save your credit card. All of these features are synonymous across the different utility types. And so here you see Inmax up in Canada, 5 stars, Southwest Gas, 5 stars out of Las Vegas, Nevada, providing gas to California and Arizona as well. Newport News just went live probably 5-6 weeks ago. Their CIO just put a great tweet out on Twitter, and also a LinkedIn post about the quality.
That's NPPD, right? Yeah.
Oh, excuse me, NPPD. Thanks, Harish. And then Simply Energy, this just gives you an international flavor. They're out of Australia. And then SDG&E down in San Diego, 5 stars. And just doing great. And both Southwest Gas and San Diego Gas and Electric have thousands of reviews. Actually, out of all the utilities in the United States, they are probably the highest reviewed apps with very high scores. And we'll just wrap up with a little bit more on that.
Can I ask a quick question? Which of these are SEW customers or products?
All of them. All right, next slide. Yeah, so this just speaks to the detail. Again, these are not water, but it goes to the volume, right? San Diego Gas and Electric, this screenshot was from last week. They had 4,200 reviews and a 4.8 star rating. Today, they have 4,700 reviews and a 4.9 star rating. So they, in a week, they went up 500 reviews and 0.1 star. And then Southwest Gas, they've been live a little longer. They've been live about a year, whereas San Diego Gas and Electric's been live 5 months, I think. Southwest Gas has been live over a year. They have 7,800 reviews and a 4.9 star rating. So Harish actually lives in San Diego. He's coming to you from San Diego today. And so he's a San Diego Gas and Electric customer. So if we can get this working in Zoom, he's going to try and show the mobile app from his phone for his account. All right, I think we're almost done, right? Is this the last slide? I think so. So just to wrap up, and I'm not going to go into the details here, but just to summarize, what we've included in our proposal for ACWD is, again, the customer portal, the mobile app for iOS and for Android. We build those, we brand them with your branding, we put those in the app stores for you with your branding on them. And then the utility facing portal and the analytics as well. And then included in our offering, we're going to be doing quite a bit of training for your staff. We create postcards, emails, web banners. We do social media post campaigns and announcement video and so forth to get the word out when the portal's ready to go live. All right, I think that wraps it up for me, Harish, and over to you.
Right, so Harish, before you start the demonstration, do I have any questions or comments from the board on what's being presented so far? Hearing none.
I'll make a quick comment. We had mentioned Irvine Ranch a while back, and when I spoke with Irvine Ranch and why they were holding off on AMI, is that they felt that they could integrate they were hoping to integrate their offerings with the local gas and electrical company. They said there were already 2 smart meters at every location. They would be a third, and they could also then integrate their portals and customer information systems. That's because of the bureaucracies and the time, that'll take a little bit of time to accomplish. But clearly with Palo Alto and even potentially Alameda, that is strikes me as being an opportunity that we should be looking at and check with PG&E and see what their plans are for a portal. Thank you.
Thank you for your comment, Director Wee. Do I have any questions or comments from members of our public? If you have questions or wish to address the board, please raise your hand through the Zoom app, or if you're on the phone, just start talking. I am not seeing any hands, so why don't we move on? How about the demonstration?
All right. Thanks, Brad, and thanks, everyone. So I wanted to pull up our platform, right? And again, Brad has kind of walked through some of the key capabilities, and there's a lot to cover. So this is actually a stock demo platform that we've set up in general, just to kind of show the capabilities of our system. And when Brad showed those live systems, there's a lot of branding and user experience design elements that get incorporated to make it your own site, right? So in the case of ACWD, we will be working with your team, and we'll basically be incorporating your design standards in your library, right? So please keep that in mind. But in general, even before customers can even log in and start engaging with the platform, we offer a lot of pre-login functionalities as well, right? So, for example, being able to, if you're a new resident and you want to start new service, you can actually, enroll and start service on our platform even without having to log in. Likewise, if you want to make a one-time payment, you can do that as well. And then, of course, we also offer all the capabilities in terms of being able to manage your digital profile. And I'll go into those details here. But let me just click on start service, right? This is where, basically users who are new to your area, service area, and this is an unauthenticated version, a public version, they can literally, start typing, the address, and then, you can actually provide those predictive search services. They can actually select that. They can actually view where they are. And then basically it provides that visual cue of being able to identify where your service is, where your address location is, where you want to start service in, right? So we provide that seamless experience for our customers so that we're kind of holding their hand throughout the entire journey. All of this is based in latest, material design principles, and basically make it very simple and easy for customers to navigate. And there's a multi-step process that's a pattern on our platform that guides them through the entire enrollment. And then even thoughtful things like being able to select what type of premise it is, whether it's you have the same mailing address or a different mailing address. And also Mr. John just made a comment around, multiple services, right? And as Brad mentioned, we focus only on utilities. So in case there are additional services that are available, you can definitely select that. If not, if it's just water, you can just select that. And again, all of this will be configured for Alameda's specific needs. And the users will actually go through a complete registration journey, right? For starting a new service, picking the type of customer they are, whether they're residential or business. And again, this is a demo site, so I can click through, but it kind of shows the power of the platform where we provide that simple, clean, easy to understand thought process and journey, and then basically provide them the ability to enter relevant information. Maybe, if they want to pick a date and time on when they want to start the service, they can do that as well. We provide that ability on the platform. And also being able to enroll for text notifications and updates if required right away from the start service user journey itself has been very helpful and powerful, especially when you want to drive them into digital adoption. There's also an opportunity for users to there's a call to action to even establish the digital profile, because the whole intent and goal is that you want to steer them towards digital engagement, right? That way you can really provide them the better service as well. And then there's a quick summary page that's presented, which shows all the information that they have entered, and they can just submit the request, and then boom, right? So we provide the success page. And keep in mind that all of this is an orchestrated, seamless experience that is offered on the platform in a pre-login setting. Likewise, if I want to make a one-time payment, right, you can even actually provide thoughtful guidance such as quick pop-ups here, where you can just show where they can find the relevant account details for the given bill. They can enter the service details, and then basically be able to either pay the entire amount or maybe even a separate amount. They can pick and choose the payment method, enter the relevant information, and then basically be able to make their payments. Notice that throughout the experience, you also have an opportunity to provide additional contextual help and details. That's all configured through the platform. And you can also actually give guidance around for example, if you're paying by credit card, if there's a service fee or transaction fee, you can also call out that as well through the platform. And again, you'll start seeing a lot of this. There'll always be a confirmation screen, and then basically a success page as well, right? Again, another pre-login feature. And again, this integration again will be integrated with basically the single sign-on through Invoice Cloud as well. So that'll be a seamless experience for users as well. Let me go ahead and log in. As soon as I log in, users are actually presented with a very contextual, humanized, home screen. We have now 300 plus utilities all around the globe, as Brad mentioned. So we have done a lot of design thinking and a lot of contextual inquiry with our customers to come up with this home screen, right? So we have brought to the fore all the key behaviors and actions that customers are looking for whenever they engage with the digital platform, right? For example, probably the number one use case and transaction will be around billing and payments. So that's actually very visible and prominent. Likewise, you'll also notice that especially with the AMI investment, right, one of the key powers and benefits is providing that, in billing cycle, in progress, consumption and usage during the billing cycle, so that users can actually make intelligent choices and affect their outcome in terms of the total bill and payments, right? So as you can see here, there's actually a quick tile, a card that kind of shows, where they are today, and then what was their last bill and what was the historical bill as well, right? Again, all of these, each and every element and aspect that you see here has been basically curated based on hundreds of client interactions and workshops and a lot of design thinking, even thoughtful suggestions, right? Your upcoming bill is projected to be X dollars more, or there's a certain variance, right? Giving those heads up before they can actually see the final bill for a given month really helps them make better choices. Even things like, especially, I live in California, and, having those energy or rather water utility, conservation programs and offers and rebates are all very important. So that's where this is also an opportunity where, we can promote and encourage more, a water conservation behavior and actions from our customers. And again, all of this is available out of the box, and these are all basically configurable through our admin portal, right? And even things like in case in future, and again, this is where the power of the platform and our ability to work with not only water, but also other utility customers gives us that thinking where even features like level pay and whatnot, even if you don't have them now, in future, you can definitely enable them. And these are all configurations that can be turned on.
Yeah, Harish?
Go ahead.
Yeah, I just wanted to speak to what you said about the programs with the sprinklers, smart sprinklers, et cetera, because we're getting ready to do this right now with Molten-Nagel Water District, where they're going to be promoting the Ratio smart sprinkler system using our marketplace functionality so that the customers can procure those through our portal or mobile app and then get the benefits of a rebate instantly applied when they purchase that, and then have that shipped to the customer. So pretty cool stuff. But then also, Harish, I wanted to, maybe you're going to hit it, but speak to the ADA compliancy, because
of course
the risk to utilities for lawsuits regarding ADA compliancy is real. And the fact that that's a big focus of what we do in the UI is important.
That's right. And that's a good point, Brad. Thank you for that. So again, one of the foundational aspects of our platform, irrespective of the channel, be it a native mobile app or be it a web portal, as you're seeing here, they are all foundationally ADA compliant. So WCAG 2.0, AA compliance is available out of the box. And again, we basically work with utilities, to even do independent evaluation if needed during the implementation to ensure and make sure that all the updates, changes, design incorporations are all compliant as well. So that's again, that's something that comes with being part of a platform, right? Because these are all the things that we always do. And then, even in terms of like being able to handle anything related to basically the design elements, etc. All of that can also be accommodated as well. Few highlights here before I move into other details. There's a lot on our platform. I could spend hours talking about our platform. There's so much, but we provide multi-account support out of the box. So if in case there are multiple, if a given customer they basically have multiple properties in your service area, then definitely they can engage and manage all of their accounts in one place. Likewise, there's also the ability to manage the digital profile. I'll show that quickly here. And then also all of the notifications, communications are also all captured. And think of it as a Gmail for all ACWD interactions and engagement notes with the customer. They're all allowed and able to be accessed through our platform as well. Let me get into billing, right? And when users go into the billing module and basically they look at basically the current bill, there's a lot of thoughtful user experience designs put into place here as well, right? For example, providing a view where they can easily see and understand the bill, right? How much is the current balance and how to make a payment. If they want, they can even enroll in auto pay, even bill summary, right? And again, this can be as verbose or as simple as required. We'll work with you to figure out what's the right level of detail that you want to present. We have all those pre-built integrations with the backend CI system. In this case, it'll be Gunther to get those details. But you can see how it look like, right? If it's a water bill, right? I mean, maybe there'll be water charges. There may be a solid waste charge. Again, just as an example to show you the capability of the platform. And again, likewise, you can even have thoughtful call outs to show your bill is up 2% and this is learn how to lower your usage, right? There's always this thought that this is not just presenting information, but rather providing that quote unquote experience where it is humanized and it's actually mindful, right? We understand why they are in the screen. What are they trying to do? They're trying to understand the bill. They're trying to see ways to lower the bill, especially in this current economic situation and with whatever's going on with COVID, right? People are very sensitive to what's going on and how they can better manage their consumption of water, right? So even some small touches, like for example, being able to make donations, right? So we provide the ability, if customers so choose to, they can actually even make one-time donations. And again, I'm showing you all the capabilities on the platform, right? So just to highlight the kind of comprehensiveness that we have. Being able to make a payment, we talked about that. Brad talked about the seamless experience. This is another good example. Now this is the authenticated experience, unlike the pre-authenticated version that I showed earlier. And basically, people can choose what amount they want to pay, what due date, if you want to allow a future date, right? All of that is available out of the box, and you can pick and choose the payment method, or you can add a new method right on the fly, and you can set it as default, right? The complete payment lifecycle is managed, end to end. So users will not have any disjoint experiences at all. And again, they will go through their process and they'll be able to submit the payment, right? In addition to that, if they want to enroll in auto pay, they can do that as well. And again, This is where we provide complete lifecycle management of auto pay, being able to pick and choose the auto pay date, how you want to pay, and basically all of that can be done by account as well. So that way, if you have multiple accounts, then you can pick and choose different payment methods for different accounts as well. Yeah, so maybe, let me quickly show some other features within billing, and then I'll go on to usage. But all of your billing and payment history is available in one place. We have standard durations up to which we provide that storage of information. Likewise, if you want to allow users, especially now, if you have customers who are on fixed income, they typically like to enroll in equal payment plans and other payment assistance programs. We basically have the ability to enable and configure that as well. So even if they're late payments, right? So there could be situations where some of your customers have late payments and you may not be allowing them to pay online. They may have to basically go to a physical location. This is where basically we can even show them you have a current balance out of past due balance, pay by visiting a nearest location, right? They can click on it. It can show them, the payment location that you may have around your service territory, right? All integrated, available within the platform. We also have a digital wallet capability. This is where you can actually add new payment methods. You can store them. We are PCI compliant. So basically, that's another reason, Brad, you may actually want to bring this up, where many utilities have gone with our solution and our payment services so that they can de-risk their PCI compliance issue, liability. Yep. Right? All the information is tokenized, and as soon as we we integrate with Invoice Cloud, basically, we will never store any personal information. It's all tokenized and it's all completely secure and encrypted as well.
Yeah, and the donation feature we've actually implemented for City of San Diego Water.
Right.
Yep.
Yep, they're using that. It's a very popular program where users can choose either it's a one-time donation, monthly donation, and different donation amounts. And then basically, they basically will enroll, and then automatically in the next billing cycle, they will see that donation in their bill as well.
Yeah, and that's all accounted for properly within their backend CIS system.
That's correct.
In their cases, SAP.
That's right. Yeah. Are there any questions before I go on to usage?
All right. Yes, if I could ask you, not necessarily a question, but go back to the level, focus on the level play section that was just on that last slide. There was you have an exhibit where it shows a level play billing mechanism.
That's correct. Equal payment plan, right? Level pay plan.
It was on your last video. Just flashed it off. What's important, I would like to bring it to the attention of our board and staff, that the ability to decouple meter reading from billing offers extraordinary cost savings that we could implement immediately at ACWD, because it shows that by averaging out the readings and giving a steady, a monthly, predictable monthly bill is not only preferred by the customer, but it would save us a great deal of time and money and would negate the need for AMI, at least from a cost saving standpoint.
Thank you, Director Wee, for your comments, but I would ask you to please focus on the item on the agenda tonight, which is the software portal. And I know we will have discussion on meter reading and the appropriate meter later, hopefully this year in some other board meetings. But for now, I will ask you to just focus on the software portal, please. Thank you.
Well, it's part of the software portal program that allows you to do great more flexibility than we currently have envisioned.
Absolutely. So Judy, I can proceed, right?
Yes, please.
Okay, sure. Yeah, real quick here, I want to show our digital account management capabilities as well. Very comprehensive. Again, we won't have time to go into all of this. I can always go deeper if needed for a specific topic, but some quick highlights. Users can manage their digital profile completely online. As you can see, they can edit all aspects, right? They can edit their mailing address. They can do delegation to additional users by role, which will again be configured by the district. And basically they can also be able to revoke access, resend, and provide access again. And also, if you want to have them enroll in paperless billing, right? I mean, apart from the environmental impact, even the cost savings of moving away from paper-based bills to online e-bills is very powerful. And many of our clients have leveraged that capability as well. So we make it very simple and easy for users to basically enroll in paperless billing. So that's something that has been very popular. Even things like, we talked a lot about notifications and preferences, right? We have probably the most comprehensive multi-channel notifications management system in the industry. And I don't want to be bashful about it because some of our clients send millions of messages across multiple channels, emails, text, push notifications, phone calls, right? In the millions. Like, I mean, it's not surprising for some of them to send on a regular basis 6 to 7 million notifications every month, and during inclement storm weather periods, maybe even go up to 10 million. Brad, I'm sure, can wax poetic about some of those case studies. But the point being that it's not just sending notifications, but we've actually thought through the entire customer experience and journey. So we've actually broken it down by various functionalities and features, be it anything related to billing and payment. You can pick and choose the channel on which you want to get notified on. Keep in mind, this is beyond your primary contact information. This could be a case where if I'm living basically in your district, basically, then I will be able to have my wife get a notification as well when a bill is due, or when, like, there's a high bill alert or anything of that sort. Then basically I can set and say, send an alert when my account's usage has reached a certain level, right? So, or I can get a weekly alert in terms of my usage as well. So the many nuances that we have already factored in, and we've showcased that. Even if there are many marketing programs and offers that you may have, they can actually pick and choose what they want to sign up for, and they can even add additional channels as well, right? Additional preferences. Even system and account notifications, right? These are like your classic password resets, somebody tried to re-register, or somebody logged in, etc. Right? There's a whole slew of notifications that are available out of the box, and again, here you have the ability to basically sign up additional users and additional preferences. And then, of course, any programs, rebates, water saving tips, program information can all be configured and managed as well through the account services module as well. All right, let's go into usage now. Right, usage, Brad showed some of our live implementations, right, screenshots. This is a good example where, how we actually show, usage information at various levels of granularity, right? So you can see here, you can do like a seasonal view if you want, and I can actually mouse over. These are all very slick, dynamic charts. All of this is generated programmatically. I can go into monthly view, and you'll also notice that there's basically like, even average weather overlays that's available, which helps again point to like, what could be driving that consumption and usage as well. You can go into daily view again, and then even hourly view. And then of course, we also offer 15-minute intervals if we so desire to go down to that level as well. But typically we'll probably stick with the hourly level view. But the point being that, even in terms of showing the interval data, showing the AMI data, or even if it's non-AMI, having that integrated experience, irrespective of the type of meter that you have, and being future-proof, so to speak, where even if you have multiple meters on a given account, then we cover all those scenarios as well, right? So that's something that's very powerful. You have the ability to download the data as well. So if you so choose to Excel, we support green button download if customers want to go down that route. And this is also a place where, again, we've integrated the entire notifications and preference management into all of our modules. So if I want to sign up for usage alerts, I can sign up right away from my usage screen as well, versus having to go to the account and notification preferences setting as well. You'll also notice that we can show personalized programs, conservation tips, right? So it could be maybe there's a summer discount plan if they lower the usage of water consumption, right? All of these are all configurable through the admin portal, where you can actually set some parameters and you can segment customers and you can show personalized programs, rebate saving tips as well, right? Moving on quickly to compare, you can even compare your usage right? So you can compare against your historical usage, right? So I can compare with me. We'll do a year-over-year comparison of my usage versus my historical usage, or I can even compare against my neighbors, right? So I kind of know how I'm doing against my neighborhood. And again, this is a like-for-like comparison because we have, basically parameterized and personalized this based on a given user. So I live in a 1-bedroom apartment while Brad lives in a 5-bedroom penthouse. So I'll be compared against other 1-bedroom apartment residents versus Brad will be compared against his 5-bedroom penthouse, tenants, right? So
you obviously haven't been to my house, Harish.
So the point being that anything that we see here, is personalized for the user, and we have a lot of data, and that's where we leverage that data and we show what's relevant and contextual for user. You'll also notice that, even in usage, you'll notice on the top here, because we have pre-built integrations, we can show daily average, highest usage this month, so far this month, and also projected usage as well. So all of that is available out of the box on the platform as well.
Yeah, and that speaks to the Badger Beacon integration, right. is what will drive these screens, especially when you're in the interval data views. And then the billing interface that Harish showed, especially when you're paying their bill, the customer is paying their bill, that's where a great deal of the Invoice cloud integration will take place. And then the account drop down is where you'll see a lot of the integration that will be related to Kayenta.
That's right. Yep, that's correct. Even things like being able to start, stop service, transfer service. Again, these are all examples just to show you the capability of the platform. But again, this is where we'll work with you and we'll identify what are those key service functions that you want to enable and allow for your customers. And then there's also a service request tracker, which also shows any services that are already in flight, what's their status. For one of our customers, we actually deployed that Uber experience, right, where you can actually see if there's somebody making a call. And this ties into, the district's intent around meter deployments. So this could be a great opportunity where if there's anybody is scheduled for a meter swap, then we could even notify them and even maybe show them, there's a technician or a service person en route to do that meter swap. So there are a lot of capabilities that are enabled through our out-of-the-box functionality as well.
Yeah, we do that for Southwest Gas. So if a customer makes a service request from the portal or mobile app, they receive a text or an email based on their notification preferences. And in that text or email, there's a link. And it's a nicely formatted email, and it says the name of the technician who's coming, just their first name. And then it gives a window of time, and it's not a half a day or all day. It's a 45-minute window. And when you click on the link, it actually takes the customer to a map where it shows their home or business on the map with a certain icon. And then it shows where the technician is on the map in relationship to their home or business and what their ETA is. It's very forward thinking.
Question, this is not part of the contract we have with you, is my understanding.
No, that feature is not.
How much would this be if we were to add to it?
I would have to work on that, but it would be affordable because the individual modules, are extremely affordable when you look at them on their own. There is implementation work that's tied to that, and so we would need to scope that and provide that as well, because there would be integration with Kayenta on that too, most likely. But it would be affordable to the district based on our discussions with you in the past on previous other costs.
But let's just be really clear, that's outside the scope of what we're discussing today. So that's not on the agenda.
Got it.
Thank you.
Thank you for the reminder.
I would note that we have a portal on our agenda, and the potential growth and development is suitable and appropriate to discuss at this time.
I think we're talking about a really specific software package that we went out for bid with very specific requirements technically and business performance wise. So I would prefer we focus on that, Director Wee. I really do appreciate your comments, and those are a great idea. I actually think that's something worthwhile looking into, but that's just not today.
I hope it's part of the mindset when the board votes yes or no, up or down on this project. Thank you.
And this is Ed, and I just, I think our presenters can certainly identify specifically where features that they're talking about are included in the contract that we're working with today.
Yeah, and I would say probably 98% of what we've shown is, I need to keep in mind that we need to stay focused on that. I'm just so used to doing this in a broader sense of what the capabilities are of the platform. So forgive me for that.
All right, moving along, let me pull up the admin portal here so I can actually show some of the admin capabilities as well. Just give me a moment as I switch the demo.
While he's doing that, do we want to take a time check and how much more you would like us to proceed with the demo? President Huang?
So I assume the directors, I am guessing the directors definitely would want to have time to actually watch the demo on the mobile app, correct?
Okay, I can maybe do that quickly.
So let me see. So staff time check. I think this is the only item we have on agenda today, correct? And how much more, Ben and Ed, do you have after the demo?
Yeah, this is Ben. Yeah, so staff have, EMA and myself have about a little short of an hour presentation, I would say, after the demonstration is done, just to provide you that deep dive into our evaluation process, plus questions.
Okay, then that's another hour. So that would put us about 7, a little bit after 7, knowing us with our questions. So Harish, I would appreciate it if we could just hurry it along just a bit.
Sure.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Let me quickly show the mobile app demo. I think you'll really appreciate it. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to switch to my mobile phone, all right? So please bear with me here. I'm going to stop sharing on my desktop and then now switch to mobile. Let me know when you can see my screen. Can you see my screen?
Yes, I can.
Yeah, I can see it.
Yeah, this is my live SCGNE account, so please don't judge me on my usage. So yeah, and as Brad mentioned earlier, right? So basically, you know, you can enable all the biometric identification methods, right? I don't have to enter my password. So if it's Touch ID or Face ID, in this case, I have iPhone, so it's Face ID. I'm just going to click on OK. So you can actually see how quick it is. And basically, you know, this is actually going to the live system and it's showing my actual account. So in this case, you can see that, you know, basically the usage that I have, electric usage, and basically then you can see that I have current balance due and my electric usage is down. Also, it tells me like I'm in a TOU plan, so it also tells me that I'm in an on-peak period right now, so I want to be careful and mindful about my usage. It also tells me my projected usage. I have an AMI meter, so I can even see my AMI usage as well on what is used as of today and what is basically my projected usage end of the month as well. So that allows me to actually manage my consumption during the billing cycle versus, you know, trying to react in the next cycle, right? So this is really helpful. And then basically, you know, gas usage, you can see in my case, it's actually down as well. Even if I go to the billing section, it's a very clean, you'll see the same design elements that I showed on the desktop portal, right? It's that material design, very clean interface. And then I could go to maybe, for example, my usage module, and this is where I get that summary view, so that's really helpful. It's not bombarding me with a lot of information up front, but then basically then, also showing like, relevant details and how I'm using my resources. I could also go to a detailed view. I can get to see basically, a monthly view, but I can also go to a day view. You'll notice that this is very interesting to me, right? So in March, when we had the stay-at-home orders come in, we had to switch, right? Everybody in our family all had to now stay at home. So there's a big change for us as a family, and you can see that spike in usage that happened in terms of resources. I'm sure you may have seen something similar with even your water customers as well, and they're suddenly picking up the phone and calling, why is my bill so high? Well, guess what? Everybody's now home and using more water, right? So people don't realize that, but having this kind of platform, it's obvious, right? So it's a call deflection. It helps them better manage their consumption. And you'll notice that very rapidly, we were able to bring down our usage, right? Because we realized this, we saw this, we understood it, but then the preceding months, we're actually able to bring it down. I can also go down to the day level. And again, this AMI data. So I get to see like, my usage actually as of like actually yesterday, right? So again, if the utility so wanted to, they can go down to the early level as well. But in this particular case, the utility wanted to stay at the day level, just based on a lot of customer research that they did in terms of what's the value benefit. Also in terms of, if I have multiple meters, this is when I can even switch. So this is where it would actually show basically, different meter data. So there could be a scenario in your case where maybe one of the meters is AMI and the other meter is non-AMI, right? So our platform provides out-of-the-box support for all kinds of meters, right? So we'll be able to support that as well. And then of course there are various other features, right? Being able to manage my account, all the things that I showed on the platform can also be done through the mobile app as well. The point being that it's the same consistent experience. So this, irrespective of the channel that you engage with, right? Whether it's the web channel, the native mobile app channel, it could be text to pay if you so choose to use that. It provides the same experience. It's using the same platform services in the backend as well. So really helpful and powerful features. Let me pause here if there are any questions.
Do you have any questions or comments from the board? I am not hearing it.
A question. This is an electric utility app. Has this been also developed for water?
Yes, all of our platforms, it's irrespective of the service, it'll use the same services, and it basically, it's basically pre-configured, and we'll only enable and configure for the services that you will be offering. That's correct.
And then the other thing too, Harish, is I would speak to the dynamic nature of that screen based on the time.
That's right. Oh yeah, of course, that's a nice subtle touch. Yeah. So as you can see here, when it says good evening, Harish, right? So it's, small things like this, right? So if I actually browse this during the morning, it'll say good morning, Harish, and it'll be a more brighter, pink, reddish color, just to kind of like provide that visual cue. And those are the kind of touches we've done, right? We've done a lot of design thinking, done a lot of contextual inquiry. We've leveraged the latest design systems out there that, we are in Bay Area, right? So all the silicon companies, if they're your customers, they'll feel comfortable and at home with what they'll probably be doing in their day jobs as well. So this is using the latest state-of-the-art design principles and design systems.
I think, Harish, this would be a good transition to the live chat, since that's part of the solution.
Yeah, let me try to pull that in. In the meanwhile, let me stop sharing. Yeah.
A quick comment, if I might. The electricity is extremely accurate. Water meters, particularly positive displacement meters, are notoriously inaccurate. So it'll be interesting to see how we can adjust or interpret the non-revenue water which is significant in these meters, of up to 8% of the meters we're about to procure, particularly when it's over a period of time, overnight or over a day. So, thank you.
Brad, you want to take that while I pull up the chat stuff here?
yeah, I just think his point's relevant, so nothing to add to that.
Yeah, and that's going to be a topic that we'll be talking about some more on Thursday.
Yeah.
So let me share my screen here. Can you see my screen?
Not yet.
One moment. Yeah, well, I pulled that up, Brad. I'm having some technical difficulties on my laptop here, run into some network issues. Let me reboot my machine. So maybe if you want to proceed, I can probably reboot my machine and then I can show that chat. Yeah.
Okay, well, maybe President Huang would be good to take a 5-minute bio break for people.
Actually, that actually is a pretty good idea since I was about to suggest one. All right.
Awesome.
So it's 5:54. How about let's take a break until 6 p.m.?
Perfect. Thank you.
Perfect. Yeah.
Thank you. The Akbari and waiting for Director Wheat. I think we should start the meeting. Thank you. I see that you started recording.
I did.
So, who's next up? Harish, I believe you have a demonstration for us. Okay, maybe not.
Harish, can you hear us?
I needed access.
Yeah, I've been there before, no problem.
All right, hopefully you can see my screen. Let me exit out of full screen. So what I've done here is actually I've set up,
Harish, we're not seeing your screen, so do you need to start sharing again? Because right now we're seeing Andy's screen. Perfect, thank you.
Yeah, what I've actually set up here is actually a chat session here. So basically on the left-hand side here, this is actually like, a customer, chat window. And then basically I'm also showing you basically our agent chat window as well. So this is where, this could be basically a district employee who's actually, maybe engaging, interacting with customers. So I will just go ahead and basically just type some things here, right? I can just type hello. And then you'll see that basically, that message comes over here. And also this goes back to the earlier question, I believe one of the members asked around the chatbot and AI, etc. So you notice that we actually able to do some natural language processing on what the message was. And then basically when the chat service rep mouses over that, there's already a pre-recommended suggestion and response. I can just click on that. And I can then, as an agent, actually say, how are you doing, right? I can type that, and then basically that shows up here. Need help with payment, right? I can type that. And then you'll see that, need help with payment came across here. And then actually there's already a suggestion saying, oh, probably it's related to billing payment. So the agent could actually just click on that and say, you can pay your bills by clicking on pay bill. and then, right, and then submit that as well, right? So again, this is pre-built on a platform. There are a lot of powerful features that are available. Again, this is a quick snippet, right? And there are various advanced capabilities that are available as well, where you can get into much deeper conversations as well if needed. On top of that, there are few other features that I want to highlight within that is part of the chat functionality. For example, right, we're going through this integration interaction and then say like, I don't know where to click, right? So if this could be like maybe my grandmother, she's in her late 80s, right? Not necessarily the tech savviest person, but still believes that she can change and use digital channels, right? She could say, I don't know where to click or what to do. So if I am the agent, I can actually click on co-browsing, right? When I click on co-browsing, it actually shows like, the steps here, right? So hopefully you can see my screen. It says, I as the agent can request the customer to allow me to get access to their desktop, right? That means basically username, their keyboard and mouse, right? So I'll control the screen and I'll be able to click and point. And as soon as I initiate that request, then the user will be presented with a screen saying that allow the agent to access your desktop. And once they give consent, then basically the agent can go in and start actually pointing to things, annotate stuff, and actually even click on their behalf as well. In addition to that, maybe the user is chatting to get more information about maybe certain water conservation programs. In that case, the agent can actually initiate a screen share of their own screen where they may point to and say, okay, here's a district website, here's a link. Good use case could be something that we'll talk about is around the meter swap schedule, right? Maybe they're chatting and asking when will my meter be replaced, right? That could be a good question as we go through this transition period. And then quickly the agent can say, yeah, this is how you can get that information. You go to the ACWD website, click on this link here, it'll take you to the current meter swap status, right? Or whatever the case may be. So there's a two-way interaction on the chat channel as well, where users can interact with agents live in person, or basically even give access to the screen and even be able to allow the agent to navigate as well. Let me pause there if there are any questions.
I have a question, if I might. Do you have any data at all of how many people actually use this information, particularly in the water side as opposed to the electrical?
Brad, you want to take that? I can give a more technical answer, but you may have some other points of view as well.
I don't have off the top of my head, Harish, any empirical percentages, but we could get back to the district with that information.
Okay. Yeah, awesome. All right. So with that, let me quickly also show some other features, around basically the customer service rep as well. So there's also all these capabilities that come with basically the admin portal. There's the ability to get a customer service workbench, a lot of data around analytics as well, and then basically be able to also manage and handle notifications as well. So let me open up that page here.
Yeah, so what Harish is transitioning to now is the customer service portal. So this is all utility facing that you're going to see when he brings this up. So we call it the customer service and admin portal. And this is where you can configure the banner messages, where customer service reps can look up individual customers and get their 360-degree view, where they can get analytics around notifications. Again, all of this is in scope, so they can see what notifications have gone out to customers and what the disposition is. Was the email successfully delivered? Was the SMS text message successfully delivered? And so forth. As Harish walks you through this, again, keep in mind that you're looking at this from the utility perspective.
Let that load there. And again, this is a lot of live data here, so bear with me here as I launch that. But basically the point being that, we have a complete, admin configuration portal. So you see here that, the various features here, customer service rep, and I can even do things like, I can search for customers, and then basically, I'll be able to do predictive search and then be able to pull up a given customer, and then basically, be able to navigate to them as well. So it'll show that here I search for Aaron Gavin, and he actually basically, it'll bring up all the relevant accounts that Aaron Gavin may have as well. Or in this case, if it can't find it, then that'll basically show a different result. And then let me, okay, I'm not able to find Aaron, so I'll pick another customer, maybe just who is available here. Right, while that pulls up here. So the point being that in addition to that, there's also the ability to even start and stop service through the admin portal itself. So in this case, basically you can actually, there you go, let's pick this up. Right, so just give me a moment here. I don't know why my internet is suddenly acting up, so it's taken a little longer than expected. So it basically pulls up all the customer details here. And basically you will be able to, if the given customer is on the call, then basically then the customer service rep will be able to basically manage, engage, and share or update relevant information for that given user as well. So all of that is available again out of the box on our customer service portal. All right.
Hey, Harish, when you were on the previous screen and it showed the color of the balls, the green and the yellow next to each customer's name, do you want to explain what that signifies?
Yeah, sure. So the point being is that here, again, this is all intuitive things that we want to provide to our customers, right? So when the customer is on the phone and if the service agent is trying to do certain things, it helps really providing that ability where it says whether it's an active user or an inactive user, whether temporarily they're blocked or locked, right? So many times there'll be a call saying I can't log into my account, right? If that's the case, then they can actually go directly to the locked customer tab and see if any customers actually locked, and they can quickly unlock them, right? Small things that actually help in resolving a lot of issues that come down the pike later on. Yeah. So all of that is available out of the box.
Yeah, and I think an important thing to remember here too is on the customers, all of this customer data is coming from Kayenta vis-a-vis our integration with Kayenta. So, when customer data gets changed in Kayenta, right, that gets reflected on our side as well. So a key piece of the integration here, which drives the CSR module inside of the utility facing portal, is the integration point with Kayenta.
Yeah, and real quick, I want to show SIQ as well, Brad. I believe that was in the conversation as well. So if I go to SIQ, the leak analytics, right? There's a lot of good stuff here as well. I could spend hours talking about our analytics capabilities. As Brad mentioned, many of our customers have also won awards, right, for implementing our analytics products. So here, this is like a summary. So when I go into SIQ and I log in, basically you can see that the various segments, there's a lot of leak analytics, the customers that, are enrolled or we are tracking, right? High usage analytics, any complaints that are being in play, any violations, all of that is tracked here. If I go into leak analytics, for example, here, I can click on it. And then basically what you will see is that, it loads all of the customer data, and then basically it'll show, all the relevant details, exceptions.
And this data,
GIS.
This data is coming from the Badger Beacon meter data management system. So that's what populates this data. And then we provide all of the use cases around it, if you will, so that you're just not staring at millions and millions of rows of data, right? So we take that data and we boil it down to what's meaningful and actionable to the utility. You know, like, what are my top 100 consumers of water? Boom, you can get to that very easily. And whenever you see data on any of these screens in a table format, you can easily export that data to Excel, to PDF. It's your data, you own it. We don't claim to own the data. We don't sell the data. We don't do any of that. It's your data. And so we give you easy access to not only view it and take action on it, but also to export it into other formats if need be.
A question.
And you can do complete case management.
Paul Sethy.
Go ahead. Sorry. Was there a question?
Question from Paul Sethy. Why is the leakage data so high in the final column?
So this is an example just to show, the features, right? So this is demo data, by the way. This is just to highlight and show, like, usually what will happen is that whenever there's a leak analyst, if you will, right? So then that analyst will log in and they will see what are the current quote unquote possible leak alerts, right? Some of them could be valid, right? Based on, like, the usage, maybe there's a certain event going on, maybe they're, like, filling up their swimming pool or whatever the case may be. So this is more like, think of this as a case management dashboard for the analyst, and they can go in and they can actually review each and every case, and they can start understanding whether it's really a leak or whether it requires further investigation, whatever the case may be, right? So it's to trigger that.
Yeah, I think there's a decimal point there too, for the last 2 digits. That's hard to see.
Yeah, but generally this is demo data.
Yeah.
Same thing up. So I could actually click on it. You can see, what the overview is for the person. What is the history, if they have any? What are the alerts, right, that were sent out or notified, right? Whether the customer's already notified. There was like night flow, right? That's a good one. So if they're using a significant amount of water during the nighttime, then maybe that's another possible candidate for potential leak, right? So there are a lot of heuristics that have been built into the platform to basically, come up with intelligent predictive analytics as well as leak analytics. Same thing applies to, like, even high usage alerts, right? So basically, you can actually see high usage, and then there may be exceptions here. Usage versus allocation, right? Again, there's a little dramatic data here, but again, the point is to showcase, the fact that if there's a big variance within usage and actual allocation, then maybe that can trigger some good conversations as well, right? So all provided through a platform, through the SIQ product. And if I go back to the summary here, it kind of shows.
So just to clarify, the information on that chart was make-believe. We would not expect to see leakage data at those high levels.
Correct.
That's correct. That's correct.
Yeah. All right.
That's correct. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, this is a demo site to just showcase, the features and capabilities. You'll also notice the integration with GIS here, right? So there's a lot of things that we have built into the platform to provide that, integrated cross-platform experience, not only for your users, but also for, your employees and other internal users as well.
Maybe you should put the decimal in front of all 4 digits.
Okay. Good call. Yeah. There you go. Yeah.
All right, Harish, do you want to transition now to just...
One last thing, I just want to quickly show the analytics, Brad. We talked about that as well. So this is just an example. I know we don't have too much time to get into it, but this is also available. This is more your customer behavior and engagement. So there's a lot of analytics built into the platform. We track every transaction. So in this case, we are tracking, for example, the customer behavior, where they're coming from, what they're doing, right? So you can see that what were the top 5 browsers used, what are the top iOS versions, Android versions, screen resolutions, OS versions, mobile browsers, web portal hits, right? Even the locations where users are accessing the platform from. All of this is, again, built into the platform. So, ACWD can leverage the benefits of all these features as well. Yeah. Go ahead, Brad.
Maybe just real quick, Harish, show the banner.
The banner in terms of engagement, or?
Just being able to configure it. I don't know. Yeah, if you click on the banner module, will come up on the left.
Yeah, this actually, what I'm in is actually the analytics page. So it's showing the banner
Okay.
usage.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so you're on a different page.
Yeah, I'm on a different page. Yeah, actually, yeah.
Yeah, so my point with that is you can, as the utility, when you have a banner or message that you want to put up in the portal, and you can choose which page, as Harish was showing the card design, you can choose which page those banners show on, and then you get the analytics around how many customers clicked on those banners. It even lets you do multiple languages of the banner. So if the customer switches to a different language or something, then it'll switch the banner.
Yep.
But the last thing that I wanted you to hit on, Harish, is the work that we're partnering with on ACWD on as it relates to the idea of the customer coming to a specific landing page where they can log in and get the status around their AMI meter deployment.
No, that's right. No, that's a great point, Brad. So the point being that, during our conversation with the ACWD, basically there's this use case that, like examples that I gave, right? Maybe there's a meter swap going on in various neighborhoods. We want to have this public facing site where basically users can go and enter the service address or even look at a map of the service territory, and then being able to get more information about what areas have been already switched out, and when their given neighborhood or their home will be scheduled for switch. That information will be provided, and then also the notifications that I showed you. That's why you can sign up for those notifications. So if and when you're scheduled for that switch, then that's when we can start notifying users. And then also we can have 2 weeks prior, 3 days prior, day off, and so on and so forth. You can actually schedule and set up those notifications, and also give that heads up to make sure that users are home, and basically will be able to then provide access if required, things of that nature. The entire flow will be basically orchestrated and managed through the platform. So we'll be providing the ability through notifications and other, map-based functions to be able to see that, right? Similar to when I showed you the late payment, just like how I showed you the, locations, you could actually in fact have icons here, information here, which shows basically the status and updates, and people can click on it, search by zip code, and so on and so forth, and be able to understand where they are in the list, and also when their premise will be switched over. Yeah.
And a quick editorial comment on that chart, which had the column of leakage. A column of non-revenue water would be far more important to us. There's a water loss ordinances and laws which are coming down the pike, and that water loss is also being interpreted and renamed non-revenue water.
Yep. We deal with that, pretty, universally, right? So non-revenue consumption is a big issue. So this is where, again, it'll provide that stat. And then, of course, you'll probably set up a business process workflow on your end to kind of manage that exception. Yeah, but we provide you from a platform point of view to be able to do that.
Right. We'll have to report that, and we can probably estimate it based on the inefficiencies of the measurements of our meters.
Yep.
All right. I think, President Huang, that wraps up the main points that we were planning to demonstrate today.
Okay, thank you. So shall we move on?
Sure, I'll stop sharing. Okay.
So while we are switching presentations, do I have any questions or comments from the community members? If so, please raise your hand through the Zoom app, or just speak up if you are on the phone. Okay, I am not seeing or hearing any, and I assume the directors have asked their questions and or make their comments, or if you have any additional question or comments, this is the time to ask about what's been presented so far.
Let me thank the board members who asked for this session. It was enlightening. It's very useful, and it reflects a significant change in approach and philosophy on how we were going to implement this project from what was previously presented to the board. This was going to be the follow-on after we had implemented the AMI. Now it looks like this will be the first step, and then behind the customer facade, we'll be able to work wherever we can with the meter structure. So it's been useful and very informative. I wish we'd had it earlier. Thank you.
Thank you for your comment, Director Wheat. All right.
President Huang?
Yes.
It might be a good opportunity to just do a time check on how much detail the board would like to hear about the evaluation process. You heard from Mr. Ager that this part of the presentation, if we give you the full enchilada, would be about an hour. But if there's interest in accelerating, that would be good for us to know.
So directors, any opinion, comments? Would you like to hear the whole entire hour presentation, or do we want to fast track this?
This is Paul Sethy. I, for one, do not want to go through the whole thing. I've read it thoroughly twice over. I hope other board members did too, in the interest of saving time.
I will second Director Sethy's comments. I had the opportunity to go through the presentation. My main objective for this session was to see the live demo, and I was happy to see that. So I don't believe I need to go through the full presentation in all of its detail.
Okay.
Director Gunther here. I agree. I also had an opportunity to take a look at this pretty closely, so I would go for a condensed.
All right, I am actually in the same position. So Director Wheat, if it's okay with you, we are going to go for an abbreviated presentation.
I can count.
All right, so I do have a question for staff before we proceed. So Joe, am I seeing your screen?
Yes, you are.
Because there are conversations that's being typed.
Oh, yeah. So it's a fun feature of subtitles. So I can remove those.
I think earlier your subtitle either is not capturing what you're saying and misinterpreting it.
Okay, I've removed them.
Yes, because it was an interesting conversation.
Oh, okay.
All right, let's move on.
Sorry, this is Ben. Can I just ask that we're planning to go through now an abbreviated version, so we'll skip over many of the slides and basically just give you the summary. Just confirming that that's what I heard. So we'll just pick out 1 or 2 slides per section and move quickly to the recommendation.
Yes, that sounds good, Ben. Thank you. I know that's not what you were planning, but it's a form of adaptive management. So
that works for me. Works for me. I just confirmed what I heard.
And we can always come back to some details if needed.
I was going to say, Ben, you know us. If we have questions, we will drag you backwards. So let's move on.
Ben, did you want me to sort of highlight and then move on? Did you want to speak to this?
No, I think we've seen this slide before. We executed the plan. I think we've mentioned that before for our procurement process. And it sounds like you probably just want to jump to the results, Joel.
Yeah,
and
I think
we'll be done with this section.
I was going to go and do a detailed re-review of the procurement process and how we evaluate it. But I think the big takeaway for this is the tenets of a fair procurement is to lay out your process on how you're going to run the procurement, detail the criteria that you're going to use to do the evaluation, and then consistently apply that to all the proposals that were submitted. And I can attest that was done in this case, and the district's evaluation team, which I was just a facilitator, I wasn't on the evaluation team, spent in excess of 2 days just doing consensus scores. So the district's staff spent a lot of time, and it was the key people that are going to be using it. So I think that the board can be confident that they've done the evaluation with the intent of with the best interest for the district in mind. So all of these ones were already discussed back in May 2019. So I'm not going to go into these details, and you guys have already done the review. This was the team. I'm just going to jump to the actual evaluation. Okay, it's probably these 2 slides. Ultimately, the three levels of evaluation. Basically, the evaluators evaluated the responses to 52 questions, and that all sums up into the total technical score, which was 50% of the overall bid. And as you can see, of the, I think, 7 responses that were provided, 5 were deemed to be evaluated from a technical perspective, and only 2 made the minimum threshold to go towards a demonstration. So really, both applications are best in class, and because the evaluators consistently applied the evaluation criteria to both of these, this procurement was done in a very fair and transparent fashion. So SEW was scored slightly higher on the technical points, and then during the demonstration was used to validate that everything that was written down was actually going to be delivered, and that was done as well. SEW did score slightly higher than WaterSmart in the demonstration interview, and ultimately the financial evaluation was 400 points, or 20% of the overall evaluation, and the slight higher cost on SEW. Actually, when we negotiated, that cost came down, and they also added some functionality. So ultimately, the process was a good one. The evaluation team really supports this recommendation, and ultimately, the SEW is where the evaluation team deemed to be in the best interest of the district. Ben, did you want to finish? Because this is...
Oh, yeah, that's all the details. I would just point out, because perhaps we didn't define this previously, we just talked about a technical score. When we say technical, that is all the non-financial information that was submitted by the proposers. So everything except for the finances, the life cycle costs. It's not just purely technical details, it's all the information about the customer experience and the application itself and the customer outreach. We just lump that all under what we call a technical evaluation, but it's really a written proposal evaluation. Right, the alternative next steps. So I'm going to apologize in advance for this. It's a little bit of a parade of horribles, but we wanted to provide the board with the full details about what the options are So, and what a no vote would look like for the district. So, in sum, here are the areas of impact to the project or to the district of a no vote. It's certainly within the board's purview to vote no. But we just wanted to make sure we were fully informed and providing as much information as we could. So there'd certainly be project delays. We had aligned the customer portal with the AMI deployment. That AMI deployment would not be delayed by voting no here and ultimately delaying the deployment of the customer portal. We just wouldn't be able to line up our integration processes together, so there'd be some additional overhead there. And I have a chart next that shows what the sort of recovery timeframe would look like to get back to a position where we would be recommending providing a rebid recommendation. So we would lose the opportunity to line up that integration and our evaluation through the POC. We've heard feedback from other utilities that it is not a best practice to provide your customers with the benefits of this data, a long period after the utility receives it, or the AMI deployment is deployed. The other impact would be staffing availability and hours. There's certainly some benefit in doing all the procurement at once, because all of the key, as you heard, the key staff that are really heavily involved with all the aspects of the deployment will be working on the deployment during this period if we had to redo this process. So availability of staff to do we wouldn't be as available to a rebid of this project or this RFP, as we'd be working on the AMI deployment at the same time. And I think we gave you a rough ballpark of the hours that staff invested, and it would be a similar level of effort for a rebid of this project in the order of 900 to 1,000 hours of staff time.
Hey, Ben, this is Paul Sethy.
Yeah.
What are the implications of the board voting to approve the alternative vendor proposal so that there is no delay in the program?
That question I think is probably best answered by legal. As far as the implications of an alternative award, we have not been through a negotiation process or a contract confirmation process with the other alternative proposers, the other 4 proposers. And we certainly know that while that was a fairly smooth process here associated with who we're recommending, there were numerous exceptions taken to our standard contract that was provided with the RFP. So that would probably be a prolonged process there on the contract side.
Yeah, I'm sorry to interrupt, Ben. I think this is a good question for legal counsel to address and make sure that we understand what that would or could look like.
Okay, let me clarify my question, Ed and Patrick and others. So I believe it is the right and prerogative of the board to accept an alternative proposal here, especially when you have 2 fairly equal outcomes from the vendors. There are aspects of WaterSmart that some of us may believe are better features and utilities on their part. It's very close. I'm not saying one is better than the other here, although I have personal opinions. But if Patrick, you can address the question of what the rights and prerogatives are of the board, and then maybe Ed, you can answer. It really isn't just one choice we have here of a no vote and a rejection and then a rebid. We do have the alternative where we we could approve WaterSmart and just go down the path as is with what staff has laid out. So I'll leave it at that.
Yeah, so maybe I can address, can everybody hear me okay?
Yes, Pat, thank you.
Yeah, so let me address Director Sethy's question. So the district has issued an RFP that had certain ground rules and a process for which the district would evaluate, solicit proposals, evaluate those proposals, and determine who the highest ranking proposal is, and then present a staff recommendation. So just to answer the question, I'm gonna provide the legal answer. What is the board's prerogative? I mean, the district is ruled by the board, and a majority of the board makes the decisions for the board. The board can make those decisions, and some of those decisions will create risks for the district, and other decisions will not create risks for the district. So may the board take a majority action to do an action, whether it's related to this or not? The answer is yes. Could it create legal risks? The answer is yes. So there are a number of options that the board could take with regard to this procurement. And I've been in the process as your district's legal counsel of working with staff and evaluating those options and how those were presented to the board. Certainly the one with the least amount of risk is to, you could follow the staff recommendation. You've heard a lot, and there's a lot in your presentation about the ground rules for the RFP, the evaluation process, how it was determined that there was a highest ranked proposal. Another clean option would be to determine that, hey, the RFP and the evaluation criteria and the weighting criteria set forth in there really didn't meet the board's objectives, whatever those objectives might be, and say, this does not meet the board's objective, and then the staff recommendation would be to reject all proposals and start over, which is what Ben just described. There are other options that the board could do. One would be to basically just ignore the whole process and award to WaterSmart. As your district's legal counsel, I would recommend against that. And then there are options in between those that also create risks as well. And at this point, I'm not too sure how much level of detail the board would like me to go into. So I'll pause there and see if there's additional questions that the board would like me to answer.
So Pat, this is Judy. I actually, since there are legal implications and liabilities, I don't want you to go into too much detail just because how this is spinning out. But I think we should be very clear in saying that the district, as part of our contracting process, set up very clear technical requirements, well, and financial, I guess, requirements that we evaluated all the big package as is against these very clearly set out criteria. And we done our due diligence. Our staff has spent lots of time evaluating these packages fairly. The only way for us to, the only less liable option is for us to either accept the staff recommendation or reject it on certain grounds that I am sure that some directors could clearly identify. Otherwise, just going for a particular vendor would be considered arbitrary and not supported. Is that correct?
So the options with that's correct. The options with the least amount of risk are to either proceed with the staff recommendation or make a decision to reject all proposals and then reevaluate the board criteria and the evaluation criteria that is important to the board if this didn't do it. Just one point on the financial component. So there was a technical evaluation that included a variety of factors, as Ben mentioned. And then after that technical evaluation was done, only then were the financial proposals opened, and then there was a particular formula set forth in the RFP for how the financial the cost proposal would be factored into as one of numerous elements into the evaluation criteria. So I did want to clarify that.
Okay. So we run through basically technical criteria takes priority over financial criteria in terms of the balancing.
Well, I think the way it worked out was, I don't know the exact percentage, but maybe Ben or Ed can break down the percentage, or Joel.
Yeah, they were both, of course, the technical categories made up of lots and lots of subcategories. Those all totaled up to be about 80% of the total available points. And the financials totaled about 20%.
So this is a technically criteria driven, mostly technically criteria driven contract.
We wanted to ensure that we were getting best in class, and that that we didn't get stuck with something that was cheap and with few of the functions that we really needed.
Okay.
The importance of this with regard to our customers and being the face of the agency.
Right. And I would like to remind the directors that a lot of the technical criteria that's set up in this contract spun from the board's desire and directions expressed in many workshops. I will say that not all the criteria has been from the director's comments, but just please keep in mind that staff is only doing what we asked them to do. So with that, Ben, would you like to keep on moving on to the rest of your presentation?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, thanks. Right. So I think you've probably seen this in the order of time. This is sort of the recovery schedule for when we would be able to provide a new recommendation for the board. It would be in December-ish timeframe. We'd be anticipating starting to install our POC meters right around then. And certainly all the integrations between Kayenta and Badger would be behind us. As we know, they have a fairly long lead time in their pipeline just to get some work into the Kayenta pipeline to develop integrations. But it would not result in a delay of the AMI implementation, just of our ability to evaluate the benefits and to provide those benefits to our customers. Right, and so the next slide is, I skipped over some of the costs, but I think we kind of got the deal there. The next slide is the recommendation. I'm happy to read that in full, as this is still our recommendation. I just wanted to remind us that this recommendation now includes the live chat feature, which we heard there's a lot of interest in from the board. So that has been updated to reflect that live chat feature that we saw a demonstration of. So the recommendation in item 4.1 by motion authorize the general manager to enter into a 10-year contract for software as a service with Smart Energy Systems, Inc., doing business as Smart Energy Water, in an amount not to exceed $2,093,834 for a water-focused customer portal implementation and ongoing software services for the AMI, Advanced Metering Infrastructure Project, job 10062. And with that, I'll turn it back over to you, Director Huang.
Thank you very much, Ben. Do I have any questions or comments from directors?
I have some.
We have two issues here. One is the customer portal implementation. And second, the ongoing software services. Are those severable, and have they been costed separately?
I'm sorry, could you repeat the question? Has the implementation of the customer portal and...
Well, the customer portal implementation, which is the ability for people to turn on their computer and have a communication with the district and the finance office, which is my read. The second is the software implementation to be able to tie it to the meters.
Okay.
Potential value in having an improved portal implementation with the community. I still have concerns about the AMI as the inherent value there. But are those two functions severable, and have they been costed separately?
They have not. So we have a lump sum cost for all the implementation work in the order of $153,000 for all the integration to all of the systems required. And then there's an ongoing services cost and annual software as a service subscription fee. And so both of those, the 10 years worth of subscription fees and the implementation lump sum cost is built into that recommendation.
Thank you.
Director Sethy?
Yes. May I ask whether the WaterSmart letter that was sent to us today was submitted into the public record?
I believe
Yes,
it is.
It will be incorporated into the public record because it was mentioned, and it will be included in the meeting minutes for this evening's meeting.
Under item 3 of the agenda?
Item 4.1.
4.1, okay. Is there a staff response to the subjects that were raised in that letter that the board members can get some feedback on?
Right. Well, I would say that our evaluation of the proposal covered the criteria that, at the highest level. You saw in that letter, experience integrating with Kayenta, WaterSmart mobile technology, vacation alerts, chat, and outside perspective. These were all criteria that were evaluated as part of our evaluation evaluation criteria and the evaluation process. So those were all baked in, and we evaluated the submitted documents, as you've heard.
So Ben, are you saying that you learned nothing new from the letter that was presented today?
Well, I would say that there is some new information in here, sure. That under customer experience integrating with Kayenta, WaterSmart's opening sentence says WaterSmart's 156 current water utility partners use 45 different CIS systems. In their proposal, they stated that they had 140 utilities and 25 CIS integrations. So, time has moved on from when they submitted their proposal in October 2019. But I think that's outside of the evaluation process. And certainly that same criteria, all of the information that was submitted and these topics exactly were evaluated.
Mm-hmm. On a further question, you interviewed the Palo Alto, Milpitas, and Pleasanton as far as their experience with SEW. Did the staff ever during the process here interview other water districts that were using WaterSmart? For example, Contra Costa Water District, East Bay Mud, Hayward, City of Hayward, Santa Clara Valley Water District, which encourages their wholesale customers to use WaterSmart. In fact, Director Gary Kremen, who's on their board, was an early investor in WaterSmart. Did we do outside interviewing of the customer experience of WaterSmart customers?
We did not, and we tried very hard to not bring in outside information into our evaluation criteria. But the references that were submitted, I don't have them off the top of my hand, but they did submit references with their proposals.
So Director Sethy, I just want to clarify, I know there are a lot of new information that's submitted, but under the contracting process, our staff is only allowed to evaluate each proposal based on what's submitted when we send out our RFP. There are new information submitted later, but those were not accounted in the evaluation. And I will have to have counsel help me on this, but if my understanding of my own contracting rule is correct, you are not allowed to use these quote outside information in your evaluation process. Our interview with Palo Alto and Milpitas and Redwood City is a confirmation of our decision. That's slightly different. contracting rules are really strange and I don't always understand it. So council, please help me out if I did not phrase that correctly.
Yeah, I think you did phrase it correctly, and the district received a letter from WaterSmart at the last special board meeting, and your staff and SEW did some follow-up to check in on some of those things, as you mentioned, to look at the evaluation process that was done and be ready to actually respond to questions from the board. It's the board's prerogative to ask questions, and that's what happened at the special board meeting. And it's your staff's job to look into those questions and report back to the board.
So let me make this comment that I really admire all the work that the staff did on the technical evaluation of all the vendors, especially the two that were best meeting requirements here. But I honestly believe that, and as well as the financial analysis too, but I honestly feel that the staff did not meet one of or some of our requirements as a board that were mentioned in our board workshops. And a lot of those are more intangible and subjective considerations that I think may have been overlooked, or where we didn't do further investigation when it could have been done. That's my personal opinion. And I, as a board member, have taken the time to go out and talk to other board members, not only around the Bay Area, but in Southern California too, about their experience with both vendors. And so that really weighs heavily on my mind about not only water utility feedback, but their customers' feedback too for both vendors. And I'll just leave it at that there. Thank you for the time.
Thank you for your comment, Director Sethy. Director Gunther?
No, I think I've seen enough tonight. I'm basing what I saw on what we heard. My small knowledge of contracting, we're kind of in a strange spot. I would have thought we could just go ahead and award to the other company based on the bid we had in process and not follow staff recommendation. However, that wasn't my direction I was heading anyway. So for that, I think I've made a decision, so I'll just call it that.
Thank you, Director Gunther. Director Akbari?
Yeah, thank you for the time. I'm going to keep my comments short because I'm feeling another allergy attack coming. But I obviously was pretty critical of what I saw from the last meeting in terms of, you know, the App Store reviews, and I was quite interested in today's demo. I personally was quite happy with what I saw. The big question that I had for myself coming into this meeting was if we were to go with the current proposal, would that capture kind of what I envisioned as the customer portal? And I think it, for the most part, did meet my requirements there. I think I appreciated Harish and Brad taking the time to come to today's meeting and give us that very thorough and very detailed presentation and walkthrough. That was very helpful in helping kind of color or put some color around the screenshots that we had seen previously and just kind of the presentation that we had received last time. Today really helped clarify a lot of those points for me. So I'm quite happy, and I'm going to leave it at that. Thank you.
Okay. So I am actually very happy with the presentation. I am very happy with the demo. I do deal with contracts in my normal day job. So I do understand the level of effort that staff went into. And I would like to say thank you to Katrina for doing the follow-up with the cities, and Ben and the project team, AMI team, thank you. This is not an easy job. Last time I did my own RFP evaluation, I literally locked myself in my office for almost a week just to go through my own independent review. It's not easy. So I definitely appreciate it. In terms of the criteria that was set up, I respectfully disagree with my fellow director. I think the criteria you have set up, at least based on the demonstration that I am seeing, is in line with what the board wanted. So with that, I will just leave it and ask if any members of the public has any questions or comments. If you wish to address the board or have questions, please raise your hand through the Zoom app, or if you are only on the phone, please speak up.
Madam President, I have one more question for Ben, if I may.
Let me run through the committee and then we'll come back to you, promise. Okay, so I am not seeing any hand raised through the Zoom app, nor am I hearing any comments from members of the public. So I will close that portion, and Director Sethy, your question, please.
Yes, Ben, at the last presentation we had from you, I asked a very specific question, which was, what was the most distinguishing factor between your evaluation of SEW and WaterSmart? And the answer you provided was that they had the experience with Kayenta that WaterSmart did not have. And I was a little bit in disbelief because as board president in 2014, the staff came to the board and said, we want to sole source WaterSmart because they can integrate with our systems. And they did in fact integrate with Kayenta and Invoice Cloud, and successfully worked with our team during that period. And then I went to their website after the meeting, and there's a 2-page write-up on all of their CIS integration capabilities with Kayenta right at the top of the list. So I would really like to have an explanation as to why you decided, or the team decided, that that was a differentiating, distinguishing decision factor here.
Yeah, that's a great question, because we have had an engagement with WaterSmart previously. And so in that case, it was a different style of integration. It was a bulk transfer, flat file transfer that happened. You know, I wasn't involved, but I want to say it was nightly. Here, we're needing a real. We asked for and we built into the RFP that we want a real-time integration. You saw the portal has live data behind it and has a live integration. And so that was a minimum requirement. We had a form that each proposer had to fill in, check off, and sign to say that they could do real-time integration with Kayenta. And so SEW proposed that real-time integration, whereas WaterSmart did not. And that was confirmed with WaterSmart through their demonstration.
But isn't that contrary to what they've provided us in their letter?
No, in their letter, I think they said they did an integration with ACWD and Kayenta, but that was a flat file transfer. That was a bulk file transfer. It wasn't a real-time integration. So we're getting fairly deep into the technical details, but that rabbit hole goes a fair way. But what we wanted here is a real-time integration.
Well, one thing that was not presented at the meeting that I only came to be aware of afterward was the acquisition of WaterSmart by Vertex One. And then when I went up to look up all of their CIS integration capabilities, they have very powerful real-time Kayenta solutions. They're the top electric, water, and wastewater utility provider of exactly these type of customer solutions. And so WaterSmart has those capabilities deep in their back pocket too. I'm just saying I would have appreciated knowing that information at the time the presentation was given.
Director Sethy, your comment is definitely noted, but I just want to reiterate that the evaluation is based on the information that was submitted. Purely based on that package, things could have happened after WaterSmart submitted those information, but they cannot be considered as part of the bid evaluation, unfortunately.
Please.
So, Director Weed?
Thank you. This is only $2 million of a $52 million procurement. And if you accept the 5% conservation, you add another $50 million in net revenue loss over 20 years. So it's a $100 million impact on the district. Relatively modest cost. The presentation today was extremely useful to my mind, and I think there's some extraordinary benefits the districts could gather from having improved portal interface with the customers, particularly if we could coordinate it with the electric and gas utility. But unfortunately, it is embedded and rooted, marbled into the bigger project, which I don't see the economic value on, given the very few people that are actually going to use this information for and based on experience. We don't even have data to how much is being used. So it's a $100 million procurement. For what? I'll be voting no. Thank you.
Thank you for your comment, and Director Wee. I am sure we'll have a great discussion this Thursday.
I would quickly say that the contractor is, I think, is qualified. They do a product, and I'm not going to second guess the staff on their procurement priorities in this case over WaterSmart. But my concerns are on a broader and far more significant cost impact. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So with that, I think we gone through director's comment, public comment. Do I then, any last information that staff would like to share with us? If not, I'll be calling for a motion.
President Huang.
Director Sethy.
I finished with my questions, but I did have a set of comments to make. I can go after other directors if they're the directors that wish to speak first.
I think unless other directors indicated that they have not made their comments, I think we have gone through it.
Okay, let me make a set of quick comments. I will be voting no too, but for a different set of reasons from Director Weed. I actually feel that the staff did not listen properly to what the board objectives and customer requirements were. The board has its own set of customer requirements. We represent the community. And I tried to emphasize in each one of our workshops how important the customer portal software would be, that it would become the face of the water district for the next 10 years, that we needed to really prepare for doing some very good education of the community and a good public rollout. And I was specifically addressing those comments to our public relations staff. I have a real problem, and I want to say this in front of the vendors that are present here and our own staff. This is my 10th year on the board. I have very rarely in my tenure on the board ever voted against or disapproved of a staff recommendation. I can't even remember the last time I did, although I know I have. But I did approve the AMI contract. So I have a different philosophical view than Director Weed on implementing AMI. And I voted for the EMA consulting contracts because of the value they're providing to the district. So I have no problem with that. But as far as the customer portal software, I'm really struggling with the whole process because I feel like that very important factors that are intangible and subjective, impressions of what goes on in the industry. I mean, part of the value of a board member is that we get to, or we bring to our community and our board, is attending the aqua conferences, attending water industry conferences, getting a feel for the players that are out there. And so, you know, I have built up certain impressions of my own on WaterSmart over the years, as well as SCW, from interfacing with folks that have worked there or represented each of these different companies. Again, I give all credit to the staff for the technical evaluation they did. I wouldn't pretend to be smarter than the staff on technically evaluating things. But where I think the board brings something to the table, we never got a chance to even talk about those things. If I were the staff, I would have come back to the board and said, you know, our own staff is divided here between these two vendors. And it would be nice, without naming who the vendors are, to just do a recheck with the board. And from a board perspective, tell us what's really important here that you're looking for, especially the non-technical, soft-oriented things that come into play in how we promote a product out to our community. I am also reflecting on the fact that after we adopted WaterSmart on a sole source contract back in 2014, we did a survey out to 5,200 customers with over 25% response rate, which was an extremely high response rate. And like I mentioned earlier, we hit it off the charts with WaterSmart. I mean, it was unbelievable, the customer acceptance and positive impressions of WaterSmart. Then last May in our Water Resources Committee meeting, Director Gunther and I, who are still serving on that committee, were given information by the staff that they were considering terminating the contract with WaterSmart because we were running out of the grant funding money. Director Gunther and I both objected. We said we have plenty of money to in our budget to fill the gap there. And staff said they would come back to the committee. And as far as I recall, they never did. I thought we were still using WaterSmart up to this very day, the present. I think there's more to this decision than just the technical evaluation here. And I'll tell you the truth, I don't really like the intimidation and coercion of the board. I feel like we've gone through a very slanted, single-sided presentation. I would have loved to have seen, and I have seen, WaterSmart's capabilities. I admire their analytical tools much more than I do SCW, but that's a personal point of view. And I'll close with this, that, and you know, I've spent my career in Silicon Valley, high technology, run my own company. I put a lot of value on not just meeting the technical capabilities, but that we are in essence buying into a relationship that we are going to have for the next 10 years with a vendor. And when I consider all factors involved in concluding a contract with a vendor, I come down on the side of WaterSmart here. And I wish that given how equal the two vendors came in a very tight contest here, that we would have been given a chance, a more balanced presentation of the capabilities of both companies. So that's where I stand, and I feel very, I don't feel very comfortable in voting no and voting against our staff because of how rare it is that I've ever done anything like this. But I want to see us succeed down the road, and I'll let the board decide what it wants to do, but I will be voting no.
Thank you for your comment, Director Sethy. Before I call for a motion, I would like to acknowledge that we actually received 2 Zoom webinar chats from Mr. Eric Anderson, who I believe represent WaterSmart. Mr. Warren, can you verify that the chat message would be actually integrated into the record, or should I just read it?
You can go ahead and read it if that's what you like, President Huang.
Okay, so message number 1 from Mr. Anderson, quote, "We would never promise to do a real-time integration without Harris/Kayenta also agreeing to provide us with access to a properly licensed API. It is unethical for us to unilaterally affirm real-time integration," unquote. That's Mr. Anderson's message number 1. Message number 2 says, quote, "I am shocked that Ben stated that the district did not look at outcomes or references from other water agencies. Our outcomes matter, not features. There are no features in the SEW demo that we can't handle," unquote. So those are the 2 messages from Mr. Anderson that I would like to put on record. And for the record, Mr. Anderson, I believe, represents WaterSmart. All right, for that, I think that closed the director's comment and public comment. Do I have a motion from the directors?
I'll go ahead and move staff recommendation.
Thank you,
I'll
Director.
second.
Thank you, Director Akbari. Roll call, please.
Okay, Directors Akbari,
Aye.
Gunther,
Aye.
Sethy,
Director Sethy?
Sorry, I was muted. No.
Weed,
No.
and Huang.
Aye. With that, I would like to say thank you to staff. I love the presentation. And thank you for being so patient with us. We do have a lot of questions, and we really appreciate all your work. All right, moving on. I believe General Manager's comment is next. General Manager's report, please.
Yes, I have no prepared reports for the board this evening.
All right, Director's comments and or agenda item requests. Director Weed.
None. No.
Okay, thank you, sorry. Director Sethy?
None here.
Thank you. Director Gunther?
Not this evening.
Director Akbari?
Yes, one quick question for the general manager. I received some input from some staff members and had a question related to that input. I'm curious if the district has updated our diversity and inclusion policies and when that might have last been looked at.
Yeah, thank you, Director Akbari. It's been quite a while since the district reviewed its policies for inclusion, diversity, and equity. And obviously, given what's transpiring in the world, we have been thinking about that. And I think what we will do, I've already had a conversation with Ms. Solito, is to take a look at those and perhaps bring in a third party to review our policies and make sure that we're complying with best management practices and that our agency is definitely inclusive.
I'd appreciate that. Thank you.
I appreciate the question. Thank you.
All right. There is nothing. I don't have anything to. So I guess at 7:18, I could call the meeting adjourned.